Can't hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us in this session. I'm just trying to see if you can hear me. Please just type that you can hear me so that I know that I'm live right now. If you can hear me, just type that you can hear me. Am I audible? Okay. So I'm just going to quickly do a slideshow. Let's see. Abby, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, but I can't see you. I can't
I'm
see
trying to
you.
get my camera back on. Apologize.
Okay. All right, let me see. Okay. All right, we are good to go. I'm just going to quickly do a short presentation. Thank you all so much for signing up and for joining in this morning. My name is Abia Sonia for people that don't know me. And I'm really excited because it's the day of positive intentional diaspora parenting um, conference 2023. So I'm just going to quickly do a short presentation to basically show you what the event is going to be like before we start inviting the moderators and the speakers. Okay, so I'm going to quickly do a short presentation. Okay, so we've already seen that those are going to be the speakers. We've got Dr. Sam speaking this morning, Koshiati speaking this morning as well, and then we've got Adesua and Pastor Lupode speaking in the evening, and we have the parent panel in the evening as well. So you may be asking, what is Positive Intentional Diaspora Parenting Conference all about? So basically, is all about parenting in diaspora. We're going to be sharing different tips. But before we go, if you know there is anyone that is supposed to be here that will find this conference very, very inspiring, that will impact their life, I would really urge you to share on your WhatsApp status, share with people, the YouTube link, just keep sharing until we have more people viewing. So positive the vision for this conference is to support parents with effective strategies to connect with their children because we've realized that in recent times there's a bit of a disconnect between parents and also their children, and as a result of that there are loads of things that are happening that is not supposed to be happening, in terms of the fighting, in terms of the stabbings, in terms of the shooting, in terms of the gang culture. There are loads of things that are happening that are not supposed to be happening. And also to also enlighten diaspora parents on how to raise wholesome children. Through this, we're going to be doing different webinars, and then this conference is going to be once in a year. Also, the purpose of this conference is to educate people on the cultural disparities that is happening in terms of the Western world, and then based on the place that you're coming from as well. There's a lot of disparity that is going on there. And if you do not do the right thing to bridge that gap, then there is a disconnect which further lead to you not being able to impact your children. In order for you to be able to impact any child or anybody, you have to be able to connect with them. And when you connect with them, that is when you're able to make that valuable input in their life. This conference will also help us to raise awareness to negative and positive diaspora influences on our children's mental health, emotional well-being, physical well-being, and even on the academic as well. There are different things that are happening in different settings in this country. You need to be aware of it. So we're going to be using this platform to keep you abreast on that. And they may be wondering, how do we do this? We can do this through monthly webinars, through the conferences that we're going to be holding once every year. The webinars might be once every month, depends on that. But we'll see the demand that is out there before we'll be able to commit to that. So a lot of you might be asking, why do you want to do this? I've been able to work with different families in different settings as a teacher, as a counselor, and also as a coach in the community. I've been able to do that. And I've seen different ways that these things happen between parents. So my role, my solo is to work with a group of people to be able to bridge this and bring everything together. So I do hope that you will find this conference really impactful in your life. And now I'm going to be handing over to I can see different people on the backstage. I'm going to be handing over to the moderator in the morning, Obi Olukayode. Olukode. Oh God, I've murdered your name, sis. I am so, so sorry to murder your name like that. So thank you so much for joining in, and just keep sharing. I'm going to bring her on stage right now.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I call her Coach Abia Sonia. Coach Abias. So, just like she's the convener, and just like she's rightly said, this program has been set up for all parents, and I'm a parent as well, and I'm quite passionate. I'm a boy parent, and I'm quite passionate about that. Sometimes I get worried, sometimes I'm excited, but then in light of what's going on, we know we don't know it all. We know we've got God, but at the same time, we also need the skills, the necessary skills to help us navigate through these interesting times that we are with our children as well. And then, so we're grateful once again. We just want to thank you for coming this morning. And at this point in time, we have I believe we'll have our first speaker.
He's not here yet, Obi.
Okay,
So
all right,
we
okay,
just
that's fine.
actually it's got 6 minutes before it's time. Before we start,
Okay,
I can see Jeremy is dropped off. Right, okay. Before we start and we will carry on, I know you are part of those that has joined in this planning committee. Where is Ronnie? She dropped off as well. Okay, Ronnie, if you can hear me, come backstage again so I can add you to this conversation. I know I reached out to you, the planning committee, a group of about 7 ladies, wonderful ladies, to join me in planning this program. And if you don't mind, can you just share with us what made you to decide to, okay, fine, I'm going to honor this invitation and join in this? What prompted you to join, to commit to this?
stuff for me.
Yes.
Oh, brilliant. All right. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah. So, first and foremost, like I said, I call her Coach Sonia, Sonia Abias. So, Coach Abias, Sonia, in that order. So beyond the fact that I've known her on a personal level, the moment she mentioned this to me. Um, I read through it, and my passion, basically, I'm a very passionate person. I'm not passionate about everything, but there are key things I'm passionate about. I'm particular as a girl child. I'm particularly passionate about the girl child. I'm passionate about children. As a parent to a boy child, I'm also passionate about the boy kids as well because I have one and I need help navigating. But then also knowing the trying times that we're in, um that we're in, like I'd earlier mentioned on, it's no one knows it all, no one knows it all. So for me, I felt like it's a positive thing to it's a positive thing to actually be a part of. It's a laudable thing. It's a laudable. I call it a project. It's a lifestyle, but I call it a project. It's a laudable project, basically, to actually be one to support. Besides the fact
Yes.
that I'm going to be I'm participating in this, basically in terms of anchoring and all that, but also knowing that um, it's going to be adding value to not just me, but to parents, to every participant, and to every person you will speak with, even afterwards, from what you've learned from here. So for me, I just felt that's a good thing for me to be able to lend my voice, to be able to lend whatever little idea I have, to aid the girl child and the boy child, as well as the parents, because at the end of it all, it's even though it's more for us, but then it's also to help us have a good relationship with our kids. If I get the help, you get the help, which Abias gets the help. We the speakers today also enable us, equip us with with the necessary skills. Then I believe we'll be equipped to build a generation, to help us as good parents and build a generation even of next parenting skills, because we learn from our parents, they are also going to learn from us, consciously or unconsciously. So that's one of the things, to make an impact and also basically to lend my bit to the society. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Obi. I really do appreciate, all that you've shared. It's very, very, how would I say, resonates very much with the vision of this conference. And I love the fact that you call it a project. I love the fact that you call it a project because that gives it room for us to reflect, for us to evaluate, for us to make it better, for us to take feedback and just keep improving it. So thank you so, so much. And another lady that is part of the planning committee is Ronnie. Ronnie, please, when I reached out to you, what made you want to like, okay, I want to be part of this notable cause. I want to be part of it. I want to give my time. I will be able to commit to it. What convinced you?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Can you hear me? Can you confirm if you can hear me?
Loud and clear, we can hear
Oh,
you.
thank you. Good morning, Lady Obi and Coach Sonia. I don't call her Coach Sonia. I just call her Sonia, and I'm very grateful to be able to call you that because I know that it's good to have good people in your corner, and you are always in people's corner. So I love that about you. Well, to start with, whatever you're doing, I will always say yes because I know your heart is right. So it doesn't matter, even if you're selling kuli kuli, you have some people that will come along. So I will always come along with you, Coach Sonia. But apart from that, when you shared the vision, it was just at the right time. It was just at the right time. I think this is something that we need to shout about it. We need to talk about it. We need to be screaming about it as much as we're praying about it. Many of us we see what is going on in the news regarding children, our children especially, and we need to, there is something that I've learned recently. What breaks God hearts needs to start breaking our hearts. If young people are going down the drain where they're now carrying a culture or a belief that doesn't represent the culture and the belief that we have, we need to start checking ourselves. We need to start understanding where are these young people coming from, what is motivating them to go this way. So for me, again, as a parent of 4 children, one of them already a teenager, some of my hairs are growing gray because I have a teenager now. So so it was just right. It was just right. Anything that I can learn today, anything that I can, add to my skills of what to do and what not to do. I'm very open to learning, and I hope and pray that many parents are like that as well. The way, like, just like Lady Obi said, the way that we've always done things, the way our parents raised us, I don't think we'll cut it in this 21st century, in this digital age that we are in. I don't think it will completely cut it. So I think we need to learn more, we need to understand more, we need to be open to what these young people are actually looking for, because I believe something is, they are looking for something, and if they can't find it in us, they will go outside to find it. So yes, I am very, very
Absolutely.
open. Like I said, I will always say yes to whatever you're selling, but this is a good one. So thank you for having me on board.
Thank you so much, Ronnie. Thank you very, very much. And the first speaker is here. When you said, I just appreciate the kind words that are coming out of your mouth, ladies. And I really do appreciate you agreeing to come on this journey with us as well. So I'm going to leave the stage now for Obi to introduce our first speaker. He is right on time. And we just leave the stage for you, Obi, for you to read his bio. And it will be right with you. So
Thank you so very much for this privilege. And Dr. Yeah, we have a very first speaker here, just like um, Coach Sonia Abies has said. So Dr. Samuel Okundayo is based in Auckland, New Zealand. He's a distinguished senior lecturer, a transformational speaker, an author, a life coach, and consultant. He is often acclaimed as the purpose preacher for his profound dedication to guiding individuals in discovering their purpose and maximizing their potential, leading them towards a fulfilled and influential life. Having an impressive repertoire of expertise, Dr. Ekundaya recently completed an esteemed course at our Harvard Business School on power and influence for positive impact. His profound insights and contributions were recognized and featured on the Harvard Business School blog, further solidifying his influential role in the realm of personal development and leadership. He also holds a PhD in Business Information Systems from the prestigious Auckland University of Technology, AUT, in New Zealand, where he did his thesis on the role of educational technology in delivering quality education in developing countries. Throughout his professional journey, Dr. Ekundaya has emerged as an internationally recognized consultant. He has consulted for major corporate organizations, developed empowering messages at churches, and headlined numerous conferences and events worldwide. Notably, in 2019, he delivered a riveting TEDx talk titled Purpose, the Ultimate Cure to Suicide, which has been instrumental in transforming lives. Dr. Akudaya is the visionary behind the School of Purpose and Influence, the SPIN, an esteemed institution dedicated to nurturing individuals for transgenerational influence and global impact. Furthermore, he is the force behind the Transgenerational Influence Conference, an annual event that attracts thousands, facilitating transformative experiences and guiding them from life's mysteries to mastering their purpose. As a prolific author, Dr. Ekundayo has penned 10 influential books with 3 bestsellers to his name, which are Purpose in Crisis: Uncommon Secrets to Finding and Fulfilling Purpose in Times of Adversity. The second one is Your problem is that you're multi-talented, proven and effective strategies to maximizing your gifts and potential as a multi-potentialite. And Getting Mentorship Right, proven and practical steps to effective mentoring relationships. Beyond his professional achievements, Dr. Ekundayo finds joy in his personal life. He cherishes moments with his wife, Blessing Ekundayo, whom he fondly refers to as his treasure, and their 2 sons. For a deeper dive into his journey, his teachings, and upcoming events, visit samuelekundayo.com. Please, can we give a positive parenting welcome to Dr. Sam Ekundayo?
Thank you very much, Obi. Really appreciate you. Thank you very much for that introduction. I'm so sorry that the bio was so long. I was starting to be like, oh my goodness, if I should have sent the short version. That one was meant mainly for like academic conferences or and all of that. But thank you. And I want to use this opportunity to honor Abby Sonia, thank you very much for having me today. It's a joy and a great privilege to be here that I do not take for granted. I came in while I heard you women talking about some important things about parenting, and I was just nodding my head about, with the little I know, about some of the things you're sharing, and to the truth that you're talking about. So hopefully, by God's grace, with the little that I have to share today, we'll be able to add to our repertoire of parenting, because parenting doesn't come with a manual. It didn't come with a manual. No baby came with a manual. When we all had our children, if in case yours came with a manual, please let us know so we can adopt your manual. But it's a joy to be here, and I want to use the opportunity to also welcome our audience. I see the comments, and a few people are there. Thank you Adesua, thank you Rukayat, Jemre, and so on. Let's get into what I have to share with us today: becoming a purposeful parent to raise wholesome family. And I believe I'm speaking to parents in the diaspora, so to speak, because the title of this conference is The Positive Intentional Diaspora Parenting. So please correct me if I'm wrong. I want to believe that most of the people I'm speaking to are parents in the diaspora. So I'll be making reference to that while I, engage in what I'm about to share with you today. I would also be sharing from the scriptures, because I'm a preacher, and I believe very strongly that wisdom is knowledge, is the application of truth, and a true knowledge that sets us free is the knowledge of the word of God, is knowledge of the truth of the word of God. So we're going to go into scriptures and then be able to talk about some life practical experiences as well. I'm a parent of 2 boys, and to the glory of God, my wife and I are raising 2 boys in our home, one at the age of 9 and the other one at the age of 8. And I must confess, it's been a very interesting journey, a journey of learning. I must say, a journey of learning, because like I said earlier on, none of these things Parenting didn't come with a manual, but we learn as we go. The most important thing is to keep a teachable heart, and not be afraid to to walk your way back when you get it wrong. And literally, sometimes I do that. Many times I would apologize to my boys if I had, if I stepped out of line, if I think maybe I was too harsh. Sometimes I will apologize. I think it is important to not see yourself, anyway. Let's jump right into what I have for us today, and all of that will come through. Abis, if you could let me know when my time is, maybe like 5 minutes to go or 10 minutes to go, I would greatly appreciate it. All right, because sometimes I could just get carried away. I want to start this by talking about the blessings of intentional parenting. The blessings of intentional parenting. I believe it's the blessings of intentional parenting that led me to where I am today. Parents who, to the glory of God, were present. Parents who were intentional about the kind of child they want to bring up. Parents who were intentional about the future of their children. And I want to plead with every parent listening to this, that you've got to be an intentional parent. You cannot parent as an absentee. You cannot parent unintentionally. Of course, you can't parent successfully unintentionally, because parenting is a calling. If there's anything I wanted to get from here today, the first thing is that parenting is a calling, and it's a calling of leadership. It's a leadership calling. Let me write that down. Help me type that down. If you have a note and you're writing now, I just want you to write down: parenting is a leadership calling. Somebody could be listening to this and going, "Oh, Dr. Sam, I'm not a leader. I'm not a leader." You are a leader as long as you're a parent. You are leading your children, and you must realize, in fact, I welcome you, and I enjoy that you read more of leadership books to know how to effectively parent. Absolutely. You're leading a generation. You're leading young ones, into their own calling, into their own, destiny, and into their own life. So you must realize, and I believe very strongly, every problem we have in our world is a leadership problem, because at home is where leadership is meant to start. But we often think leadership as something that has to do with governance or politics and all of that. But home is the first platform for leadership. So if we as parents, we get it wrong, we are literally destroying society. No wonder they say charity begins at home. So if leadership is not sound at home, we should not expect leadership to be sound outside. It starts from the home. We parents have the responsibility to demonstrate effective and intentional leadership in the way we parent, such that our children latches onto that, or our children latch onto that, and then they become great leaders later on. We must be intentional about the fact that parenting is about raising the next generation to literally be, to literally make the world a better place and make society a better place. So if you don't see your role as a calling, as a leadership calling, dear parents, you have already failed. Because literally everything you do, whether you like it or not, you are painting the picture of what the kids or what your children would likely do. Watch out. You are currently right now most likely having the kind of marriage your parents had. Unless you have intentionally chosen to not have the same kind of marriage. In fact, watch it. You could literally be parenting exactly the same way your parents parented you unconsciously. Why? Because all of us are programmed subconsciously. All right? Programmed subconsciously through parenting. So it's the leadership model you witnessed that you are likely to emulate and, interestingly, pass on. It is the leadership model you witnessed at home. So if you witnessed your dad maybe beating your mom in the name of correcting her, or you witnessed your mom shaming your dad in the name of I don't know, helping him to get things right. If you witnessed all of that, there is a likelihood it would have subconsciously settled inside of you, as that is the way to behave with your spouse, with your husband, with your wife, and your kids will see that, and guess what? They would emulate that, albeit subconsciously, until they intentionally choose to not be like you. So listen, your children will either decide either to have a marriage like yours or not to have one like yours. Like you may have made such a decision if you're an intentional person. At one point in time or the other, you would have sat down to say, I want to have a marriage like my parents. So I don't want to have a marriage like my parents. Let me share with you something that happened to me 2 days ago. This is not in my script, but for what we are sharing right now, it's so important. I met this lady. I think she's in her early 40s or late 30s, thereabout, and she's, I met her at my children's soccer game, and out of nowhere, she just started telling me about her life story. She had been a partner with this guy, with this man, and they are not married, and I think both of them have 2 kids, boys, interestingly, and she wanted marriage, the man didn't want marriage, and both of them have been co-parenting for the past 17 years. One of the kids had become a teenager, the second one is around 9 years old, thereabout. And interestingly, she only just sort of like I've gotten to the hallmark and the culmination of the dissatisfaction that the relationship has brought her, and she's now frustrated by the fact that the guy does not want marriage, and the guy clearly doesn't want marriage and probably doesn't want to marry her, for whatever reason. But what I realized, and I remember, and I said it out loud because I was listening to all of that she was saying. I said, you know what? I'm sorry for your kids. Like I had to say that, because all of these things that you're explaining and you're describing, these kids are in trouble. They are in trouble. The dysfunction that you are passing down, and guess what? Interestingly, this is where I'm going. I asked her. I said, "What's your parents' marriage like?" And she told me her parents' marriage too was nowhere to be found. The man that she's dating or co-parenting with, the man too, the parents are nowhere to be found, right? Divorced and separated with lots of other steps, mothers and fathers, and this so dysfunction passed all the way down from generation to generation. And she said to me, Samuel, I don't even know what a good marriage looks like. I don't even know, and I believe it's the same. I don't even know what good parenting looks like. Somebody is listening to me right now. The problem is not that you don't have the desire to parent well. The problem could be that you have not experienced good parenting. And in order for you to be a good parent, having not experienced good parenting, yours is harder compared to maybe someone like me, lucky enough or blessed. That's why I started my session with saying I was blessed enough to have experienced good parenting. Oh, am I saying my parents are perfect? No, I meant that they were intentional. Intentionality doesn't mean perfection. Intentionality means that you choose the outcome for your behavior, for how you respond to things and how you coordinate yourself. And as I was speaking to the lady, I realized, oh my goodness, there's no sense of intentionality in this parenting. And of course, in the relationship. But the model that God wants us to have, and the model to the glory of God that I have been trying to emulate, is that of an intentional parent. An intentional parent will be a purposeful parent. An intentional parent will be a parent that is very, very concerned about the destiny of their children. Not just concerned about them, being at home and running errands, but being intentional about their destiny and their purpose and their calling. Remember, parenting is a leadership calling. And leadership, first of all, of anything in the words of John Maxwell, is influence. Nothing more, nothing less. That's the exact, quote from John Maxwell. Leadership is influence. Nothing more, nothing less. So, dear parent, let's start again, shall we? your calling as a parent is first of all influential before anything else. It is your influence that you lead by, not what you say with your mouth. It is what you do that is most important, because that is the influence that you are having on your children. So whenever we think about parenting, we've got to be thinking about the influence, the imprint that we're leaving, the programming, the sub-programming that we're actually, delivering to our children. How we are programming them by the things we do, not necessarily by the things you say, mostly by the things you do. The other day, my boy walked into my office here, where I have a massive bookshelf here, and he saw my book and his mom's book, and was like, "Dad, can I read your book?" And I gave him the book to read, and he was reading. And after he had, after he had read, and he said, "Daddy, I want to write my book." Oh, that's my elder son. I want to write my book. I was okay. What would you like to write about? And how did that come by? It came as a result of seeing that a mom's book on the shelf. Influence, like literally nobody myself and his mom never sat him down and say, "Hey, you need to write a book." No, he saw our books, he read the books, and he was like, "I want to write my own book." And then, with a few coaching, the boy published his book at the age of 8 actually. It was published when he was 8. Influence. What you do is more important than what you say. Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6. It says, "Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it." This is this scripture, we read it a lot, but the depth of it is what I would like to present to you today. All right, train up a child in the way he should go. So, how do you know the way someone should go if you don't know that way? How do you train up someone to go a particular way if you have not gone that way? How do you? This is so important. So, if we want to fulfill this scripture, and we agree that this is truth and this is the word of God, that we should train up a child in the way that child should go. So, in other words, there is a way that every child should go. There is not just a way, the way that the child should go. So, as a parent, my first job, if I want to influence right and lead right, is to help my child know the way that they should go, so I can point them in that direction. And to effectively point a child in the way they should go, I must be going the way I should go to. Oh my goodness. Did somebody get that? And I hope I've not made it too complex. I'm trying to make it as simple as it should be. It says, train up. If you don't get it, put it in the comments. Just say, please re-explain again or come again. I'm more than happy. I'm a teacher, so I'm always in favor of re-explaining things until everyone gets it right. So feel free to let me know that maybe I was too fast, it's too complex, or maybe I should come again. Happy to. It says, train up a child in the way he should go. In the way he should go. When he is old, he will not depart from it. I dare say that the way you are going right now is the way, most likely, unless you have intentionally made a U-turn, that you were trained up to go. It may not be the way you should go, but that's the way you've been trained to go. There are so many people who have been trained to go a certain way that is not the way they should go. So the question for us as parents, let's introspect. Do we even know the way that our children should go? That's why I always say one of the greatest gifts you can give to your child is to teach them how to love God and how to fulfill his purpose. Teach them how to love God and how to fulfill his purpose. Train up a child in the way he should go. You cannot effectively train a child to go the way you have not gone. You cannot. Unless you have walked the path, you can't take another person on that path. You cannot effect. It's impossible. It's impossible. Leadership is not pointing people to the way and you refusing to go that way. Is somebody following me here? All right. Leadership, effective leadership is holding someone by the hand and leading them the way you are also taking, or at least you have taken. So train up a child in the way he should go means you must have gone that way, their parent, to positively influence that child. But if dysfunction has been passed down to you and you have not intentionally healed, corrected that dysfunction, oh my goodness, you're going to pass it down to your children. And of course, if they too do not, resolve that, they pass it down. Hence, the dysfunction in our world, the chaos in our world. Train up a child in the way he should go. Interestingly, the Bible says Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. So if we want to train, if we want to train a child in the way they should go, then we've got to point them in the direction of Jesus. And that's the greatest leader I know. Before I leave, because I've got 5 more minutes, why the Bible says train up a child in the way is because a child is still flexible. By the time they become adults and teenagers, I was listening to another woman. I forgot her name just before she left. She was talking about she's having gray hairs because she's having to deal with children, teenage children. Yeah, the moment they become teenagers, oh my goodness, it's too late because they are formed already. Their personality traits have developed it well enough. So when their will is still flexible, this is the time to train them. When there is still hope. In the words of the Bible, in Proverbs chapter 19, verse 18, it said, correct your children while there is still hope. Do not let them destroy themselves. I'm reading the New Century Version. The Message version says, discipline your children while you still have the chance. Because there will be a time you don't have the chance anymore. Indulging them destroys them. Especially for us in the diaspora, we can indulge children in technology. You say, go and play on the iPad. Just leave me alone. I'll play on the iPad. One of the things I really, really enjoyed in my marriage, to the glory of God, is the intentionality of my wife, to the glory of God. Since when our kids were like 2 years old, my wife would draw a timetable for them, create a structure around the house. This is what you do from 9 to 10. This is what you do from 10 to 11. This is what you do from 11 to 12. And we model the same thing. I tell my kids, I said, no watching TV in this house before 9 a.m. All right. So I remember previously, a long time ago, they would just jump, they'll wake up, next thing they put on TV and all of that. No way. And we'll cut that off intentionally. All right. Time on the screen. There sometimes they will say, I remember my kids were saying something like, some days are hard. And why? Because there are no screens on those days. They are hard, but we fill them with activities that are not necessarily screen related. All right. All of us can play together. We can play games together. We can play board games together. We can talk together. We can gist together. We can do all kinds of fun things without the screen. All right. These are things that we can be intentional about to make our children and help them to become more purposeful. But when the Bible says train up a child, it means disciple the child, have influence the child positively. And I want to quickly, as I finish, share 4 portals of discipleship. 4 portals of discipleship that, to the glory of God, my wife and I practice in our home, that we've seen the results of. Number 1, observation. All right. If you want to disciple anybody, or most importantly, your children now, parents, number 1 portal of discipleship is observation. Realize that children learn more by observing you, learning what to do and what not to do through observing you. Not just what you say. They are looking at you. You and your husband, you and your wife, are you loving? Are you caring for each other? Do you demonstrate a loving relationship between yourself? Are you usually angry or aggressive? All of those sort of things, they are the things that they are painting a picture of what they should be doing. A bit you may not even be aware, but they're observing you. The other day, one of my boys was took the what's it called, the comb, and he was trying to preach the way I preach. It was it was observing the whole time, observing the whole time. Number two, portal of discipleship is explanation. Explanation. To the glory of God, I'm very fond of, whenever I give my children, instruction or something, I would ask them, I said, do you know why? Do you know why I asked you to do that? And they'll say, if they sometimes they will guess. They'll say, oh, because, do you know why I ask you not to make noise when, mommy is sleeping or someone's sleeping? They say, oh, so we don't wake mommy. I say, correct. That's it. All right. Because and if they have questions, I have to explain. A child sometimes learn by by them asking you questions, and then you are able to explain. I know we in the diaspora, especially for those in the Western world, you find your kids asking you questions like why. Don't shut them off and say, I know we were brought up that way. Don't ask your parents any question, or don't ask your parents stupid questions. No, we live in an age where information is everywhere. All right. So don't shut them off when they have questions. Learn to explain, because if they don't get the correct explanation from you, if they don't get the truth from you, they're going to get the lie from elsewhere, and they will believe that lie. So whenever they offer you the opportunity to explain by asking you why, please take your time. See it as an opportunity to display the truth. Okay. See it as an opportunity to explain the truth, all right, to them, than allowing the school, the teacher, to explain it to them. It's not the responsibility of the teacher in school to raise your children. So all this one, I'm sending them in school, I'm paying a lot of money. Charity begins at home, not at school. Okay. So explanation is very key. Number three, portal of discipleship is experience. Though they said experience is the best teacher, but a wise mentee learns from the mistakes and the success story of their parents. So, and that's why many times, to the glory of God, and I believe every parent should do this, tell your kids the stories of how you grew up. Stories of your failure. Don't only tell them about your success. Sometimes we parents, we try to paint this picture that we are perfect, that we are amazing. We never made any mistake. We never made any. No, tell them about your mistakes. Tell them about how you failed in school too. Tell them about the time you didn't get it right. Tell them about the time you didn't have food to eat and something, and God came through. Tell them about your poverty stories. Tell them about your stubborn times, your stubborn deeds. And I do tell my kids about this. Why? Because what you are doing is you are teaching them through experience. And also hold their hand, bring them to your office, let them see the environment where you work, let them see how you do what you do, right? Let them see. They learn by experience. You've been telling them all this while, this is how money this is how you make money, then bring them in, let them see by themselves, for themselves. Experience. All right. Model it for them. Model what you would like them to see, the way they should go. All right. Because of time, number 4. This one is big, but we don't have enough time to explain it. Number 4, portal of discipleship is revelation. This is where you teach your children how to hear from God and how to have an intimate relationship with God. I dare say that you cannot teach this number 4 portal if you do not have it yourself. If you do not get a revelation from God, if you do not have an intimate walk with God, it will be impossible. The Bible says, for I know Abraham, that he will command his children after me. Parents, we are the priests of the home. Priest means that you are able to stand in the gap and bring other people into the presence of God. If you do not model the presence of God, your children will hate God. And that's why you see many parents, many kids of pastors still struggling in that area because they are too busy to model that. And so I'm not saying you have to be a pastor to do this. No. I mean that you have to be that imperfect child of God that consistently pursue the heart of God, so you can model that to your children. Model a life of revelation. Model an intimate walk with God, not that of religion. Please, I'm not talking about just taking them to church. No, there's so much more than taking them to church. Model how to hear from God. Model how to love God. Model how to develop character. Model a life of revelation. Right? Because of our time, I'm going to conclude with Genesis chapter 18, verse 19, the Bible says, "For I have known him," speaking about Abraham here, "in order that he may command his children and his household after him, that they keep the way of the Lord, to do righteousness and justice, that the Lord may bring to Abraham what he has spoken to him." Effective parenting is intentional parenting. Parenting is a leadership calling. It is first done by influence more than scolding or whatever it is. You have got to realize that if you've not been programmed to parent effectively, you're going to struggle. But that realization is the beginning of change, where you realize that, okay, I may have been raised from a dysfunctional home, but I'm going to model effective parenting, and I'm going to heal. I'm going to take responsibility for my life. I'm going to take responsibility for my own, parenting. First of all, by working on myself, so that I can help my children, so I can show them, I can influence them positively and train them in the way they should go through those portals of discipleship. I hope this has been a blessing to you. If it has, allow me to quickly pray for you, because my belief for praying this prayer is that it will help someone receive the grace to make the change or to make the necessary realization that they need to in order to be a purposeful parent. Father, we thank you for this opportunity to hear your word and to share with each other and to learn from each other. All of us parents are learning from each other. And Father, we thank you because we've been able to look into your word. Your word says, "Whoso looketh into the perfect law of liberty and continues therein and doesn't, just hear alone and not be a doer," you said that person will eventually change. That person will eventually eat the fruits of it. Father, we pray for every single one that has heard this word. Give us the grace to not be hearers alone. Help us to be doers of your word. We have this calling to raise the next generation and help them be leaders that you have created them to be. Help us not to fail in this responsibility. We give you praise and we thank you. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you, Abiz. It's a joy to
Amen.
be here again.
Thank you so much, Doc. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Can hear
Thank
you.
you so, so much. I know you've had to squeeze this. I know you are committed. I know you've been doing a program since Friday to Saturday. So I know that this was a big ask. So thank you so, so much, Doc. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for keeping your
Thank
word.
you for
Thank
having
you
me.
for the sacrifice that you've made to be here today. And I know that. And I really do appreciate it. Thank you so, so much. So please
Thank
let us celebrate Dr. Sam Ekundayo today. He's made a lot of sacrifice to be here with us this morning. And I really love the four portals of discipleship that you closed up with:
you.
observation, explanation, experience, revelation. That should be a model, a parenting model, where you flesh it out. It should be a model that will work. And
Yeah.
you can be tailor made to your family. It doesn't matter the setting of your family. If you're able to flesh this out, this should go a long way. Thank you so much, sir, for giving us a masterclass this morning. I really do appreciate it. There is one question that has come up. He said, "I
Sure.
work a lot and do not have the opportunity to spend time with my
Mm,
children as I want because we need the money. What is
mm.
the best way that we can mitigate these circumstances?"
Wow. That's a very important question. And to whoever asked that question, thank you for asking that question. It's a vulnerable question. Um, and we live in a world where careers have become the time bomb of leadership in homes, where we all want to fend for our family and provide for them, especially maybe men or women, single parents, whatever. We want to provide. But you see, that role of provider must never supersede the role of leadership. The, in terms of order of priority, it's got to be that role of leadership first before the role of the provider, the role of your influence. And if you are absent because of the provider role, yeah, you will never fully effectively parent. But then you are in this situation. The money is necessary. The money is needed. We live in a tough economy. What should you do? all right, without judgment. You should intentionally, right now, begin to pray to God and say, Lord, you know me. I really want to be there for these children. I want to be that model of leadership that would help them. Lord, I pray. And this must come from your heart with the right motive. Otherwise, God will not answer. Because God, there's a correlation between your motive and the answer God gives you. So you're going to say, Father, give me a job that will give me time for my family, enough for me to be able to train my kids and influence them the right way. And you're going to pray that with all sincereness. Some of us are workaholics, so even when you are praying that prayer, God knows you are just joking. He will give you that job that pays the same one as you're getting now. You still go and look for a second or third job. All right, there are people like that. All right, but if you pray that with all sincerity of your heart and you begin to now look for that kind of job, maybe the one that you will not be involved in weekends, you will not have to bring job work home. I can tell you this for a fact. I prayed this prayer a few years ago and God answered that prayer. Do you know the job I do now? I work fully, completely from home. Completely from home. I take my kids to school. I bring them back from school. My wife's a medical doctor. She's more busy. But even when she's off, she dedicates that time for the children because we know how important that is. All right. And if you have answered that, if you have asked that question, it means you know that you need more time with your children. So now the next step is to begin to work out a transition plan between whatever you're doing right now that is not allowing you time with the kids to a job that allows you time for the kids, and begin to envision it. Begin to envision it as you continue to pray about it. Give yourself another 6 months. Give yourself another 1 year. And you're saying, Father, Lord, in the next 1 year, help me to get this job, and begin to do whatever you need to do. If you're going to have to change careers or whatever, or change a job or change cities or whatever, that will make that possible with your motive. If your motive is right, it will be possible. And that's my simple, practical yet practical answer to that question.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Doc. I really appreciate that response.
And
There's a
Abby, if
lot
I
of
may just add this, I don't want that person to resign and say, "Oh, that's my kind of
mm,
job, or that's my kind of industry," which is what many people do. They just resign to in quotes, "That's my fate." That's I can't get any other job. No, you can. That's where your motive. That's where that motive starts from. The motive that I can get another job that allows me time for my kids. Praise God.
yeah,
And if you're
absolutely.
married and you're not, in quote, a single parent, and you've asked that question, work it out between you and your spouse as well. You
Yeah.
can find a balance somewhere where someone is maybe the one, in quote, being most of, and the other person is allowed and home there to be able to remember it's a leadership calling. It's a leadership calling.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much, Doc. You've made it so relatable, for us to be able to take action. Thank you very, very much. God
Thank
bless you, sir. God bless
you.
you. Thank you.
Amen. I honor you,
My
sis.
regards to your wife.
Will
I
do.
honor you
Will
too,
do.
sir.
Thanks for
And the
having me.
children as well. All right, sir.
Thank
Thank you. Bye.
you. Bye bye.
Okay, I hope you've all enjoyed that.
Wow.
Please just tell us what stood out for you, and I'm going to leave you in the capable hands of Ronnie. She's the next moderator. Coach Yeti, I'm ever so sorry, we're running behind with about 5 minutes. She's been here since she was right on time. So, Ronnie, I'm just going to yield the mic to you right now.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Coach Sonia. Thank you, everyone on YouTube. Thank you, Dr. Ekundayo. That was absolutely amazing, and my note was full. I've taken lots of notes. Like Coach Sonia said, I'm gonna move ahead very swiftly because we're running 5 minutes behind, and I'm very privileged to introduce this our next speaker. This lady, she's someone I follow passionately on the gram, like the kids say, and she's very inspiring. Her name is Coach Yeti, and Coach Yeti is the founder of Lagos Moms. And if you're here, you know Lagos Mom, you know you are in for a treat. She is the first Nigerian blogger that was dedicated to moms and parents and caregivers. She believes that parenting should be a mindful and collaborative process. And as a parenting coach, our mission for creating the Lagos Moms community is to be a family life and parenting resource for moms, parents, caregiver. Um, Coach Yeti believes it takes an entire village to raise a child in the 21st century, and I completely agree with her. She is the convener of the Lagos Moms Parenting Conference, which is an annual gathering of thousands of parents and experts discussing pertinent topics relating to parenting and family matters. Yeti is a certified life coach. She's a neuro-linguistic programming practitioner. She's a member of the European Mentoring and Coaching Council in the UK. She is trained in cognitive behavioral therapy and emotional freedom techniques. As a responsible digital citizen advocate trained in online safety and child safeguarding, she works with parents to transform their parenting to the digital age, to successfully raise responsible digital citizens, and to have creative, effective family digital well-being plans. In 2021, Lagos Mom was selected as one of the winners in the Africa Online Safety Fund. It was set up by Google.org, and it is an honor to have been selected as one of the 26 organizations across 9 countries in sub-Saharan Africa. The grant, she has said, will go towards promoting online safety and digital well-being for parents, teachers, and children. Please, if you are in the audience, can you make welcome Coach Yeti Williams? Good morning. It's still morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
So sorry, Coach Yeti. You're 5 minutes late. So sorry about that. I know you've been backstage since.
It's okay.
Thank you.
How are you, ma'am?
You can hear me well. Is my internet good?
Yeah, it's breaking up a little bit, but I can hear you.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Let me just open the door, so maybe the Wi-Fi signal will be a bit stronger.
It actually sounds perfect now. It sounds perfect.
Oh, okay. Let me not do anything then. Okay, fine.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
And you can take it away. The floor is yours.
Okay, awesome. All right, so I assume please give me when it's 5 minutes to go, I would appreciate if you can please just drop it for me in the chat so I know to start to round up. All right, fantastic. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for inviting me here, Abyss. You know, I love talking parenting all the time, how to be intentional parents, how to be effective parents. And, you know, when we're looking at the diaspora, you know, there's a lot of things that we need to keep in mind when it comes to raising our children in a different part of the world. We're not in Nigeria, but we're from Nigeria. And I think it's very important that we don't see ourselves as being at a disadvantage or thinking that location or this new place we're in. And I find that if we parent from a place of fear, then we're not going to be effective parents. So we can't be fearful, right? We must be very focused on what it is we're trying to achieve. If you can please start with the slides now. So I'm going to attempt to go through all I have for 25 minutes, but you know, the good thing is that I have a website and we're very active on social media. So you can always get in touch and you can always get more information. So we're talking about being a more effective parent in the digital age. And I was here, so I heard some of the things that Dr. Samuel Ekundayo mentioned. And I particularly like the verse he used, or one of the verses he referred to, which was about training up a child in the way that they should go. And that's what we typically do. We parent how we were parented. We raise children based on the experiences we had growing up. So what has happened in the e-village is that for a lot of us, we didn't grow up with social media. We didn't grow up with technology. We didn't grow up with digital media. We didn't grow up with these things. So it can be very difficult for a parent to raise a child, right? Train them up in the way they should go when you are not even aware or clear what that way should be, because things have changed in the digital age. So first of all, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with your children. Your parenting isn't failing because you seem to have a bit more tension. It's just because our children are digital natives. And when you have a digital native in your house, your child is not necessarily a citizen of where you're from. don't know if we're together on that. Our children are not necessarily citizens of where we think we're from. So you can live in Nigeria, your child has a Nigerian name, but guess what? They might have an American mindset. They might have British values. Maybe they're even a Black Lives Matter advocate, and you live right in Nigeria, Lagos, Abuja, and your child has never left, has never traveled out of the country. Yet some of their realities, it's such a blend of different influences, because a lot of our children are getting their data, their information from very different places. So maybe we're in the diaspora, you're in the UK, your child is exposed to so much online. It's not just about where you think you are from. So we need to keep that in mind, that when it comes to raising successful digital citizens, we need to be aware that our children are citizens of the world, and they have the access right at their fingertips. Okay. Now, so let's stay on this side. I'll tell you when to go next, right? So I want us to really sit with this first and realize that because we're in the fourth industrial revolution, we are in the digital age. That means that we are being exposed to so much. The same access you have online is the same access your children have. So they are seeing content consistently. They are getting knowledge thrown at them, information thrown at them consistently, regularly. In fact, I say it's a privilege. Let's be together on this. It is a privilege if your children come and ask you about things. They come and ask for your opinion. They see something online and they come to you to ask you what your perspective is. What do you think about it? It is a privilege, because our children today don't need us for knowledge. They don't need us for information. What they need us for is context. And the context can only come if we have a relationship with our children, if we have open communication, open door policy, where they can come to you and ask you any question. Because guess what? They are seeing that information online. They're already seeing it. It's not that they need you to tell them. Growing up, what you wanted to know, you had to ask your mom and dad, and what they told you was it. You didn't have any other person to go and ask. Maybe you had cousins, you had friends in school, yes, but overall, your knowledge was contained to what the family told you. Okay, next slide. All right. So parents are the real influencers, right? I mean, it's almost as if myself and the earlier speaker, Dr. Ekundayo, had discussed this before, because he said that quite a few times. He said that quite a few times, that parents are the real influencers, and they really are. However, what are you influencing, right? What are your values? Do you understand your child's online interests and habits? When we say we want to, influence our children, the truth is, are you able to truly influence your child if there is so much external content, external influences? Are you really the one influencing that child, or is the child being influenced by everything else they see online? So it's very important in the early years, honestly, between 0 and 10, to make sure that the foundation has been laid, that your values, you know what your values are as a parent, as a family. Your children themselves understand that, and you have grounded them in that. You have marinated them in that. You have made sure that it is in their heart. They know where they are from, who they belong to. Your faith is very clear to them, and you are living your faith. Those values are the building blocks. Because what a child consumes online, sees online, how they behave online, is a representation of the values that have been really rooted in their hearts. Because children will come across all types of information online, sometimes because they're being innocently curious. We're all curious beings, there's nothing wrong with that. But if your child starts to come across content online that is not in alignment with their values, they continue to see that content because of the algorithms. I'm not going to make this too much of a technical session, but it's important parents understand what is happening in the digital world, so you know your position. We perish for lack of knowledge, right? So we need to know what is going on so we can have a chance to even help our children, right? So you need to make sure that your values are clear. Your children understand your values. understand what it means in context of their life, and you understand how the digital world works. Because if your children are then seeing things that are contrary to your values online, but the way the online world work and technology works is that that content will continuously be served to your children. That's how it works. So if your child clicks on anything innocently by mistake, or they were curious and they went to Google it or whatever platform they use, they will keep getting that kind of information. Now, what role do you have as a parent to influence that if your child is being fed with content that is not aligned with your values as a family? Okay, so let's sit with that. It's one thing to say children do what we do, they see us acting. That is when it is in the physical. In the online world, it's a whole different dimension. All right, next slide. Thank you. I wanted to just throw some stats around because it's important. I love data. I love statistics. I'm a coach. I'm certified in, life coaching. I've done a lot of training in online safety and child safeguarding. I'm currently enrolled in a program. And I'm getting a diploma in cyber psychology. So I'm very fascinated by the way humans have changed because of the digital age and because of technology. And we find now we have segments of psychology and cyber, the cyber world basically, that's really looking at the intersection of human beings and how technology has changed us. In fact, we just finished a module on online dating. And parents, no matter your faith, let's be clear that the way children date nowadays is not how you dated. It's not how you met people. So let's leave that. But let's come to some of the statistics. I'll just fly through some of them because of time. When this survey was done by Ofcam, and some of the things they found was that 84% of parents, 81% of children, they believe there are positive benefits of being online, specifically to learning. Yes, there are benefits to learning, using online tools. That's for sure. 56% of parents said they were concerned that their child's reputation might be damaged either now or in the future by their online behavior. That is critical. And parents must be aware of this, that what your child does today, the internet doesn't forget. So remember, when you're thinking of values and how you're raising children in this context of the world that we live in, the truth is that your child cannot afford to make some very silly mistakes in the world that they live in today, because a simple tweet, message, video that they shouldn't post can show up 10 minutes later, so that you don't say that it's somebody from the village that had it in store, that was monitoring your children. No, you need to help them realize that whatever they post online is forming part of their digital footprint and it's going to be there long term. 68% of children say social media helps in building and maintaining friendships, right? So we can't ignore that it's the digital playground of today. It's not good or bad. It is what it is. You're not going to tell your child, for example, if you live in an estate and there's a playground in the center, not to ever go there. You will probably let them go. You have times when they should go. You'd expect them not to get into fights, things like that. It's the same thing with the digital world. It's a digital playground now. So it's not about saying you can be on it or you can't be on it. It's about understanding what they are doing online. 67% of children say being on social media makes them happy all or most of the time. And 66% say it helps them feel closer to their friends. I'm dropping this because there are certain parents who say, I will not allow my child to be on social media. I don't believe that's the effective answer to managing your child's exposure to screen time. I think it's understanding how they use it, understanding the risks, aligning it with what you are used to. Growing up, what we had was the playground, right? So you want to keep it in mind that it's now a digital playground. So what are some of the rules you need to put in place to protect your child? But it's not about yes or no. It's not about you can be on it or you can't be on it. In fact, let me drop it here. A lot of parents will proudly say, my child is not on social media. But guess what? The child is seeing what's on social media from their friends, or all they need to go is go on YouTube. There are certain channels on YouTube where you will see what's going on social media, but you are not on social media. So this understanding is very critical, right? 29% of children aged 8 to 17 have experienced someone being nasty or hurtful to them via social media apps or platforms. Okay, those are the ones that have reported it. 28% of children aged 12 to 15 use TikTok as a news source in 2022. This has gone up as of this year, but as of the time of this survey, And I don't know about you, but in my house, there's so many things my children will mention to me. I've even stopped asking from where, because before, from where? From where? It's TikTok. So I call it TikTok University. They are seeing this information on there. But because we have a relationship, they can bring things they see to me. And I don't fool myself to imagine that they are bringing 100% of everything they see to me. No. But because I don't act like I'm a dinosaur and I don't act like screen time is all bad, we can have this conversation. All right. And lastly, a key reason children age 3 to 17 play video games is to hang out with friends. I'm bringing this up because it's important as parents we understand how and why our children are online so that we can be effective when we are putting in our rules, our guidelines, having conversations with our children. And also to make sure that we are not nags. That's another thing. And because of the earlier speaker, some passages dropped in my spirit. And one of it was Colossians 3:21 that says, do not provoke, irritate, or exasperate your children. That is a charge for parents. You can actually irritate your children to the point that you break their spirit. So if, for example, every time you see your child online, you are already up in arms saying, you're on that thing again. You are always there. You are wasting your life. No, 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 no. That is exasperation. Do not be a nag. Do not disturb your children. Do not expect the worst. If you expect the worst, your children will serve up the worst. All right, next slide. Next slide, please. All right. So we've talked about some of these things, right? Okay, parenting in the digital age, it is different. Children are being raised in a digital world. That was not our experience. So we're having to learn with them how to use screen times, how to use digital platforms. And we're supposed to raise these children, yet a lot of us don't even know what their world looks like online because we're not on those platforms. I don't know how many of you here, please, if any of you here are on Snapchat, TikTok, or House Party. I'm not going to say Instagram and Facebook. Snapchat, TikTok, or House Party. If you're on either of those platforms, just drop the initial in the chat for me. F for Snapchat, T for TikTok, H for House Party. If you're on any of those, kindly just drop the initial for me in chat. I'm just trying to see something. So our parenting styles plus our child's love language is what equals a healthy and open communication in our homes. Your parenting style and your child's love language, it is very critical because that is what helps to encourage healthy and open communication. And it is even more important in the digital age because if you do not have healthy, open communication with your children, it is even more dangerous than ever before. Because now it's not just about peer pressure. It's not just about peer pressure from people in their school, in the neighborhood, their cousins. It is access to, do you know how many billion people are online now and on social media? Almost 5 billion people are now on social media, using social media platforms. So your child potentially has access to almost 5 billion people's opinions, comments, viewpoints, and values. Hello. So if our children cannot talk to us, cannot communicate with us, cannot bring things to you, they are then going to go where there's somebody online waiting for them. So let's quickly discuss what's your parenting style. By the way, if you want to get some of these resources, I know this is a lot to cover. I will share my details so you can get in touch with me because there are certain quizzes. I believe in knowledge. Let us know where we are, where we're starting from, so we can start to create ultimately a digital well-being plan for our families. You need to have one. Hope is not a strategy. We need to have a digital well-being plan. Each and every family needs one based on your unique situation, circumstances, your parenting style, your child's love language, you and your spouse, are you on the same page? Where do you live? What are your child's interests? Each and every family needs one. If you don't have a plan, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So we all need to have this plan, right? So what is your parenting style? We all have one, whether or not you know it, right? What's your child's love language? That means, how does your child perceive love? How do they receive love? Very quickly, if you have a child whose love language is words of affirmation, that means that is the child who loves to hear you say, well done, I'm proud of you. I see you did your best. Oh, wow, you did. That is a child. And love language is words of affirmation. Now imagine you are a parent whose parenting style is authoritarian, right? Authoritarian, because I said so. So you never praise the child, you don't praise them for effort, you're just always so hard and harsh. That child's love language and love emotional tank is not being filled. If and you are not feeling it, somebody is feeling it. And now that we're in the digital world, it's even more dangerous because there's a lot of things that's going on online. And all these groomers online, they know what to look for. They know exactly when they can identify that this particular child on social media has a gap, has some needs in this area. That's when they come in and then they start to speak to the child in a way that pulls the child further and further into their web of deception before they strike. But you're a great parent at home, you're praying, you're having dinner at the same time, you're talking about stuff, but maybe your child doesn't actually feel safe enough to come and talk to you about the things they're seeing online. And then lastly, what's your digital parenting awareness level? There's a level you must be at if you are a parent in today's day and age. You can no longer say, I don't get social media, I don't like technology, I don't all these things. It's not about whether you like it or not. It's about the fact that you must be aware so you can help the children in this day and age. We are parents for such a time as this, which means whatever you're uncomfortable with, you need to shift it so that you can be effective for your children. All right, next slide, please. All right, so very quickly, parenting styles. There are 5 here that I'm talking about. Authoritarian, that's dictator style. We all know what a dictator does. I said so, so there it is. Now, in the diaspora, it's even more dangerous. I've been talking about a lot of these things even when I lived in Nigeria. I only moved here about 2.5 years ago. But when I was in Nigeria, all of these things I talked about. So I don't want us to think that this information is because you're in the diaspora. Therefore, you need to parent differently because you're in the diaspora. Yes, there are certain things we must keep in mind because you're in a different land and their rules and regulations are different. Their laws are different. However, these are, I believe, universal principles that if you want to be an effective parent in the world that we live in today, there are certain things that must shift. It doesn't matter where you sit, where you live, right? So authoritarian dictators, authoritative, they're the ones who are quite firm. They have rules, they have expectations, they have high expectations for their children, but they are communicative about it. You know, they are warmer. Permissive is the parent who says, anything goes. You know, I don't want my children to suffer like I suffered. So anything they want, I will just give them. That's permissive. You let the children essentially do what they want. Quite dangerous. Neglectful are the ones who are too busy. Maybe it's the children I'm working for. I'm too busy. I beg, just, or they have emotional challenges themselves. They're not very emotionally aware or intelligent. So they don't know how to give that to their children. They can't love somebody if you don't love yourself. I put a comment up yesterday, well, both on my Twitter page and on Instagram. And I said, you need to heal first. You will parent the child in front of you the way you are feeling. So what that means, all of us have children inside of us. The child grew up with us, but you have your child inside of you. And when I learned personally to reparent the young Yeti, and I became kinder to her, and I healed her from some of the things that I didn't get growing up. Your parents can only give what they know. But there are parts of you that probably you feel like, reparent yourself first so that you don't lash out at your children and take it out on them as you are now parenting them. Okay. And then intentional is the parent who's just very intentional about, okay, I am not going to do what is easiest. I am going to do what is best long term. So, it's very important we know where we, hey, 5 minutes. Okay. No worries. So it's very important we know where we fall so that we can then know what we are going to do. Now, my last comment on this page is the fact that it matters even more in the digital age because your digital natives will find an alternative world online. And I think for me, that's probably the most challenging thing about being parents in this digital age is that if you don't feel your child's needs, your child will find an alternative online. And if a virtual wall builds up between your child and yourself, it's very difficult to penetrate your child's digital experience and understand what they are doing in their digital playground. If they don't even give you a window to know what's happening. Your children, there's something called online disinhibition, which means that how people behave online is very, very, very different than how they behave in person. So a child in front of you can be polite, docile, but online, they can be a whole different human being. Right. So it's very deep in my heart that people understand the world we live in, the digital playground that children are participating in, so that number one, we see it for what it is. It is not all good and or bad. It is good and bad. It is how we use it. It's how we raise our children to show up online properly. Right. So it's very critical that we understand that so we can help them navigate that space. So please, if you don't know your parenting style, take the quiz. I have one on my website. Message me, I'll send it to you. That's your starting point. Then what's your child's love language? What's your awareness of digital parenting matters? Then that is what you need to now, like you're cooking stew. That's what you now need to say, all right, what do I need to shape? Where do I need to learn? What do I need to change so that I can help my child in the street? Okay, next slide, please. I probably have 3 minutes now. So I'm going to, all right, next slide. I'll probably be flying through this and then I will tell you where to stop. All right, these are some of the things we've talked about. Your digital natives characteristics are very different. Like I said, they didn't just drop from the sky. They didn't create this world. They are also growing up in this world. I went over some research recently. I said I'm back in school. And some of the things we saw is that children today, guess what? They didn't choose to be digital. They didn't choose. They came into a world that's fully digital. In fact, a child now whose parent thinks they're protecting them and say no phone, no screen time, no social media, you are giving that child a complex. Because if that child is in an environment, for example, where all their friends are then chatting on WhatsApp or have groups, and you are telling your child, you cannot be on because I want to protect you from what's online. But what you are doing is giving that child a certain level of feeling inferior because they cannot participate in some of the conversations that's happening in the digital playground. So they always feel left out, but you are feeling that I'm protecting my child, but you are damaging that child's mental health because they feel inferior when everybody else knows what's going on because they're having conversations after school online and your child is not there. Just imagine in your days if your parents said, no, I want you to pass your common entrance so you can't go to the playground ever. So every time you get home, no playground for you. Let us just look at that picture. Please, please, please. I am not therefore saying that means you should just give your children access to and say good luck. That's not what I've said. What I've said is let's change our perception that digital is not all bad. It is also entertainment for these children. It's about giving them the safeguard, right? The scaffolding around them to help them be effective and safe in that world. All right. Our children are also very susceptible to addiction because the digital platforms have been created to be addictive. So if you just tell your child, oh yeah, go and take your phone, but only be on there for 10 minutes because that's all I will give you today. You put no timer, you have no software in place, but you expect the child will just get off at five minutes after. You are not having a plan, right? So we need to be aware of what they are seeing, what is possible, what the reality is, so that when we are creating our individual family plans around digital consumption, they actually understand where you're coming from. You communicate it in a way that they can align with it. And then you have a chance of being able to, what I call, rinse and repeat. Okay, so understand what's going on, educate yourself, know what's happening, know the world that we live in, know the age that we live in, know why your children are going online, spend some time understanding what they are doing online. Is it video games? Please, mommy and daddy, play it with them. What are they doing online? Become part of their world so that you can have a chance to say, all right, guys, that thing you posted yesterday, and that's why we need an e-village. Because if somebody sees something my child posts online, they should be able to tell me or say something. But if all the people in my family and all my friends say, I don't do Snapchat, I don't do TikTok, so we're not even able to be parents in the e-village, how will I know if your child is doing something they shouldn't? So I would end here because I can't get through all my slides. But the main takeaway I would like us to keep in mind is that it is a digital world, it is an e-village, and we must be aware of how the children are consuming this content. Yes, there's a lot of danger out there, but it is not all bad. When we now come from a place of being, understanding, having a good relationship with the children, we can then help them to stay safe when they are online and use technology for good, because they're not born because they are tech savvy does not mean they are tech aware, does not mean they know how to stay safe online. So they still need us to guide them, to give them context. But I find that with some African parents and Nigerian parents, they don't want to be bothered with this screen time. They're like, oh, no, 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 I just don't like it. So you don't then do anything, or you are too extreme. You say you cannot be on, or you leave them to their devices and say, good luck, just be a good kid. You need to be somewhere in between those two. So I know my time is up, so I'm going to stop here. But if you can just go through to the very last slide, I think so that people can probably just see slide. Last slide, keep going. Can't get through all of this. I think I was very ambitious, thinking I can, okay, stop here. So my last slide will be just that rules without relationship leads to rebellion. So let's keep that in mind. We must make sure that when we're putting some of these rules in place, we are educated about why. Our children understand our values and where it comes from, because what you believe in person is what you will then consume online many times. And let them know that you're a safe space. So when they do see something online that they shouldn't, they can come to you and they know that you will support them. You won't just shout on them or beat them or put them into one corner and take all their devices from them. That's not teaching them anything. So with that, thank you. I hope this was useful, and you can always get in touch with me for more information. That's my email address there, and we're also on social media on all platforms at Lagos Moms. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you so much, Coach Yeti. Thank you. I just want to appreciate you for your time and for sharing so deep with us today. And I do hope that parents, you have a lot to take away from this. Thank you so much. I'm going to leave you in the capable hand of Coach Ronnie now.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Coach Yeti. This has been very amazing. Lot of information. I personally want to give you more time to go through those slides because everything was hitting me back to back. I just have one question, and I want to ask. So, as a parent that I've already, that is that one that said no, 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 no. I've said no to everything. Where and you already have a teenager, so where would you advise us to start from? Because I'm aware there is a lot online, and like you said, many of us are, we are online shy, we don't want to go there. So where would you advise us to start from? What is the starting point at this stage?
I would ask how old are your children? I know you said no. Does that mean you haven't given them any access to social media or
Maybe a little bit of access here and there, but I'm just asking for maybe somebody who hasn't given access, someone who has already given, and then I have a follow-up question after that.
that's fine. So I think the best thing is really to start with where you are. Start with the age of your children. So every family, which is why I say it's so unique to every family. And there's some kind of personal research I'm going through, or I'm looking at myself, which is that they say mothers are the nurturers in general. Yes, we know dad and mom, they are two, father and mother should both be involved. Yes, we know that. However, I believe that there's something about nature and how we are wired. Mothers are the nurturers to a large extent. So if a mother has fear of technology, what are you passing on to your children? So let's keep that in the back of our mind. If we are fearful of screen time or technology, we are teaching our children two things. Either they should also be scared of it, or they should do what? Hide it from you. So it's very important that we say, okay, let us start with the person that has said no to their children, you said no to all screens, no phone, no social media. I would start with why. What exactly are you scared about? And then let's now first start with that, because I believe that fear is usually what leads parents. And if you are parenting from a place of fear, you cannot be effective. So that's the first question, is what are you really scared of? When we can identify that, and that's what I do with my clients, what are you scared of? Then we can go into the next step of, okay, what is your ideal picture of how your child should show up online? Then you can start saying, what do we need to do? Your child cannot stay off forever. So even if you say no for the first 16 years, they will go to uni, they will go to A levels. Once they leave home, sometimes those are the children that go wild online because now they have access. I would prefer that you give your child access at home so that you can teach them bit by bit by bit and teach them how to show up online. So maybe it's 30 minutes here and there. Maybe it's on the weekend here and there. You use it together you use the platforms together, then you are slowly inching up, inching up, inching up till the point where you are comfortable. Because let me just share one more thing. A lot of parents say no, 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 no. And the minute the child leaves home, maybe it's for A levels, for boarding, for uni, and the child then gets a device for the first time, they are the ones who now go haywire because they never actually got the training under mom and dad's tutelage to learn how to be responsible online. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does, coach. And I think you've answered my follow up question. So I'm really, really very happy to be able to ask you those questions. Thank you very much. Is there any question in the comment for Coach Yeti?
I can't see any on my end. I think she's thoroughly trashed it, and it looks as if she was flogging us thoroughly.
I wanted to say I hope nobody is feeling that no value, no
She
violence. So I'm not fighting.
she
I come
scattered
in
all
love.
the table, plastic table, metal table, the wooden table. We don't have any chair to sit down on anymore. We felt flogged. Like if you don't allow them now under your tutelage, you let them go. They don't have any guidance, nothing. They are gonna go AWOL. Yes, we heard you loud and clear, my coach. It's all about the communication, communicating effectively. Are you listening? Do they understand the way you want them to understand? Thank you so much, Coach Yeti. It's always a pleasure listening to you delivering this thing and the way you just keep on absorbing this cyber knowledge. We are here for it to receive it, and I'm sure the teenagers will love you for it because you are helping them because it's as if sometimes we don't understand their language. You said awareness is one thing to be able to be techie savvy, is another thing to know the awareness of the implications that it could generate. So I love the way you separated that. So thank you so much. And if there is any question, oh, okay. Yes, I thought I saw a question. It was not a question. They're just repeating what you said. Thank you so much, my coach. I really do appreciate you and I celebrate you. A loads of love in the chat for you out there. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me today. And I want to just drop, please, when you wake up is your morning. So I
Mm.
never want to leave parents feeling overwhelmed. I've messed up. Oh my God, what can I do? No, 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 no. Whenever you wake up is your morning, and it's important to know where you are, and then you can start from there. So I think I wanted to just drop that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Someone just dropped a message. At what age can we introduce all this to our children, please?
From as young as 3 years old, you can start teaching your children good digital habits from as young as 2 or 3 years old. At 3 years old, you will not say that I'm going to wait until my child is a teenager to learn how to make the right choices when it comes to eating healthy, right? At 3 years old, you're going to make sure they're having vegetables. If your child tells you I don't like vegetables, will you say, okay, no problem? Of course not. You're going to find ways to make sure they are getting a healthy diet. I see screen times as a healthy diet. Think of it that way. What are they consuming? How are they consuming? Because some 3 years old are already addicted to screen time, and parents don't even know. But they say they are not on social media. But hello, they're addicted to YouTube. That's addiction. It started at 3 years old. So it really depends. I go back to how old are your children? What are your plans? And how do you start to teach them what they need to know bit by bit? I even had an acronym of digital for you, but we didn't get there. So our base is like, you're going to have to bring me back because I told you before this time, I cannot land it all. But I hope this was useful. Please get in touch with me and we can always continue this conversation. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Coach Yeti, for just offering for our first webinar. I will slide in your DM
I'm
and
waiting.
then we shall talk more, please.
I'm
Because with this platform, we are open to educate parents with the awareness and things via webinar because this conference is going to be once in a year, but the webinars going forward, we can use to address the little things so that it doesn't compile and get overwhelming. Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
really
Bye-bye.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye. Hi, Coach Ronnie. Thank you so much. So we are running about 10 minutes late now, but hang
Yeah.
in there. Hang in there. I promise you. We are bringing some special guests to the stage. Their camera is going to be off. I know you are excited about this. We are bringing our teenagers on stage right now. They are going to speak to us. And I urge you, stand up, stretch a bit, go and grab a cup of tea, a biscuit. You will need it. Sit down in a very comfortable position because they are going to speak and we are going to listen. So thank you so much for all the youths and the parents that allow their children to want to come and speak. They may not be speaking whatever they are sharing. They may not be sharing their experiences. They might be sharing their friends, their schoolmates. So it's going to be robust. So I don't want anybody going back and saying that thing you said, was it about you? No, they are going to speak. That's what we've told them. Please speak for the youths. Speak for the youth, not only for yourself. This is your opportunity for you to speak to us, and we are going to listen. And I really do hope we receive this with all of our hearts and with an open heart. So thank you so much. Coach Ronnie, do you have anything you want to drop before I let you go and observe? This
No,
seat is going to get hot.
yes, it's already hot for me because the way Coach Yeti broke down the digital world is not the way I
Yeah,
used to see it. I just see it as something else. But the awareness that she's brought is to us now is that this is their world. We cannot, we can't say no. It's almost like trying to exclude them from the world that is happening out there. So we need to allow them play safely, and that, I think, that is my word. That is what I'm taking away. I hope someone else got something else as well. But thank you
thank
very
you
much.
very, very much, Coach Ronnie. You have been absolutely fantastic today. So let's get our guests up. Let's start bringing them. Hello, everyone. Please just respond. Excuse me, if you can hear me, respond. Hi, youths. How are you guys doing? Good morning, team one. Good morning, team two, team three, team four, and team five. Good morning.
Morning, ma.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Right. I'm so excited to hear from all of you today. And we're just going to straight right into it. I'm really sorry we went into your time a little bit, but you'll get it back in the end. Excuse me. So the first one I'm just going to ask, I've already told everybody that you're going to be speaking not just your own experience, but for the experience of your schoolmates, your friends, it might be your church members, but the youths that you know. So it's going to be a robust conversation. So I'm going to target this first question to team one. First, can you share with us what children experience after relocating to a new country and how that makes you feel?
Yes. Sorry. Hello?
Can you hear you?
Yeah, you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, yes. So the question you asked. So with children relocating to a new country, they most of the time feel very much out of place because the in a new environment with a lot of new faces and new cultures and new things to get used to. So they find it harder to speak to new people, and to kind of feel like they belong in the place because everything is such a shock to them. So it
Yeah.
will take them some time to, kind of adjust to it. Um, yeah, I think that's based on from my experience. I think that's what a lot of people, a lot of kids that relocate to new places and like newer countries will most likely experience for at the very least the first year when they're there.
Okay. I know when you relocated, you were still young. Is there anything that stood out from the things that you experienced, whether good or bad? Is there anything that stood out for you that is memorable that you feel like, okay, parents are not aware of this, but this is what we go through, maybe in school or in the community, or is there anything that is memorable that you can reflect on? That's to teen one still. Can you hear me? Okay, I'll go swiftly to teen three. The same question to you. Can you share with us what children experience after relocating to a new country and how it makes them feel?
Okay, for me, my experience is that I came here like last year. So
Yeah.
coming to a new environment, knowing nothing, and it's not like I was been here for like a long time. It's not like I've been here for a long time. I've been here just like a year. So new environment, new places, new things. So it might get a while. It might take a while getting. It might take a while to get used to. Like going to school every day, coming back. Like I remember this one night. It's just like, cause you miss everyone from where you're coming from. So sometimes it can be hard. It depends on when you're coming from, by the way. So that's my experience.
In terms of school, did anything stand out for you? I know it was hard. What particularly was hard for you?
Um, in my school, usually they're like most of them they're white people. So me as a black is just standing out to them. So they're just bullying. So like the first week, like not the first week, at least the first month, I experienced some bullying. So because I'm black and I didn't know, and I just got here, so I didn't know what happened. I don't know what's going on in the environment. So
Thank you very much for sharing that. I just wonder that bullying, did you ever share it with your parents? And how did you manage it?
yes, I did, and my parents came to the school, and they were all dealt with.
Okay. Thank you so much, Team Three, for for being bold enough to share them with your parents. And I'm glad you got the support that you needed at that time. So now I'm now going to move to question two. And this is for Team Two and Team Five. How can we promote personal hygiene amongst teenagers without causing them embarrassment? Team Two, do you want to go first?
Yes. Well, for me, I haven't really experienced it much, but really, you just want to try and introduce stuff like sweating, stuff like that quite earlier on, and try and install it into them before they start feeling as if it gets embarrassing, as you say, stuff like that.
So you are telling us that we should get something like deodorant and start sharing it with the teenager even before they start experiencing any form of being told. Is that what you mean?
Yes, just to try and get it
Okay.
into their minds and make it a habit for them.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Team five, can you please speak on this as well? What is the best way for us to communicate personal hygiene to teenagers without making them feel embarrassed?
I also agree with Team Two, and I think that parents should just have an open conversation with their child and talk to them about self care and how their body is changing and how they shouldn't be embarrassed by it and how at this age they should be mindful so that when they're older, people won't be laughing at them or like ignoring them or avoiding them. So yeah, I've said that.
Yes. Yeah, thank you so much. Right, parents, I hope you are listening. They're telling you, please do not wait until they're older. Just start speaking to them about the body changes. Start speaking to them about it as early as possible so that when that conversation comes up, they don't feel embarrassed because they're already used to it of you telling them. So you don't have to wait. You can even avert that, that embarrassment because they are used to it. You telling them about it always. Thank you so much, Team two and five. Now the third question. This is for Team one and four. Team one, you will go first. What are the common challenges that teenagers experience in their families and communities in terms of family, maybe the structure or the parenting style and things like that? What are the challenges that teenagers experience that they wish they could actually just share, but sometimes they are either scared or they don't have the opportunity to do so?
Okay, so I think common challenge teenagers experience in family is they sometimes feel like they're sort of not doing the right thing at the right time, because they may look at the older siblings or younger siblings and sort of feel a bit envious if they think they're doing, a lot better than them. Like, for example, if the younger sibling already knows what they want to be in the future and are really walking towards it, or if an older sibling of theirs, already has is already kind of stable enough to take care of himself or is in a much better position. I think, being a teenager, that will being sort of in that middle ground where you're not a child, and so you don't really have much expectations, and you're not an adult who is already sort of reaching those expectations. I think it sometimes can weigh on you heavy, and you may feel isolated to not want to speak to anyone about it in the house because they feel like they're in just that middle ground. I think that's a common challenge teenagers experience.
Okay, thank you very much. Do you know a way, the good way that parents could address this and make it easier?
Yeah, I just genuinely think a parent's just checking up on the child once in a while to ask if they're feeling stressed out, if everything is okay, if they're comfortable with just sort of the situation that they're in. Because sometimes and I don't, to be honest, I don't think it will be as easy as just asking every single time. I think sometimes the parents as well should not only just ask, but to try and help, even if they're not sure what the problem is.
Yeah.
So it can kind of so the child could feel sort of feel like the parent is trying to help, even though they don't exactly know exactly what the problem is. And I think let them that might make them open up a bit more to their parents about what sort of situation they're in.
All right. Thank you very much.
No
Thank you.
problem.
Team 4, please, can you help us with this as well? What are the common challenges that teenagers experience maybe in school or in the community, since Team 1 has already spoken to the family context? And if you have some from family as well, please do it to share with us.
I have one for school. So I think that once you get to the age of like 15, 16, that's when you're in like year 11. And once you get to year 11, you have to start planning forward for your life, for example, because after year 11, you're going to college. Then after college, you're going to university. And once you get to year 11, you already have to know what you want to do to be able to pick the courses you want to pick when you go to college. So I think that this also links to the family one as well. So I think that the parents can be they can put on pressure on the child to be able to do good in school because if you don't get, for example, a good GCSE, you will be able to get into the college you want to go to or the university, and that can impact the job you want to do as you get older.
Okay. So I'm just, thank you so much for sharing that because I love the way you link those to home and school. I'm just wondering the best way that you think that parents could help alleviate that or remove the stress or ease the stress that teenagers are feeling at that time of their life.
I think they can give them the support they need. So, for example, the subjects that they need help with, they can help them and guide them through it, so they're able to pass it. And then once they get to college, they're able to sit down with them and be able to let them give them free reign of what courses they want to do, so they know the job they want to do, so they're not like forced into doing it.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much, parents. Please don't force your children to do courses. They said, please listen to them and guide them more like rather than dictating to them. It is very, very important that will listen to them, because if they are part of, if they have an input in choosing their courses or their subjects, they will commit more to it rather than you choosing for them. So please, let's pay attention to this session because it's very, very important. Thank you very much. Now, I'm going to move on swiftly to question 4. This is for team 3 and team 5. What challenges do teenagers face in educational setting? Team 3 first, please.
Sorry, what was the question again?
What challenges do teenagers face in educational settings?
Okay. Challenges in educational settings. For example, my school, they do sets like set 1, set 2, like top set, bottom set, and stuff like that. So there are some challenges that you have to go through. There are some like questions, like they do a test to determine which set you're in. And if you tell your parents about the sets, like they will try to pressure you, they will pressure you, like they'll be on your case day and night. They won't let you watch TV and stuff. They will be saying you should go study, because like they'll be saying that if you get to my own personal experience, if you get to bottom set, that's like a bad image on our family. So they'll be pushing you. I'm not saying that it's bad. Like sometimes it'll be like 2 weeks before the test, they'll start pressing you that you shouldn't watch TV or that you shouldn't play with your phone and stuff like that. Like sometimes we need a break about stuff like that. And another educational challenge like I face is like for example, if you get a homework, like you don't get it, like you don't get the homework. Sometimes your parents will be comparing you with like other people, and like instead of them to be helping you, they'll be comparing you with stuff. I'll be asking them just to help us instead of doing that. Okay, thank you.
Right. Thank you very, very much, parents. Comparison is up. Okay. So we'll move on to team 5. Please, can you help us with that question? What challenges do children face in educational settings?
I also talked about academic pressure and how parents can expect us to have high grades or be the top of our class. And the same way Team 3 talks about that. And I also said peer influence as well, because sometimes you can have friends, the friends that you have depends sometimes on how you turn out in life. For example, if you have friends that don't like to study that much, um, it won't really like help you or benefit you. For example, I had a friend when I was like younger, like when I started high school, and she didn't really like to study that much. So whenever I came to her house, she would be questioning like, "Why are you studying? Why are you doing this? The test is only 2 days away. Like you don't need to worry about it." And that really didn't help at all. So having the right friends can help you with your mindset, and that could help you academically. So parents need to remember that as well. They should encourage you to have good friends. And yeah.
Okay, so you're telling us that whether in educational setting or in any setting, having the right friend is very, very important, and your parents should guide you in choosing the right friend. Is that what you just communicated to me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very, very much. So, parents, please, someone ask a question that what if the child does not like, if the parents feel the course is not suitable, this is back to, the educational setting again. I think it's very, very important that you have a discussion. Most of the problem that we have is communication. Communicate this to the parent is very, very important that you communicate this to the child. This is the reason I feel is unsuitable, and then the child also will also have an input, because sometimes it might be based on assumption that will feel like that, or the child also may not have clarity as to the choice they are making. But when we communicate, not dictate, but communicate, listen, conversation, listen to understand, not to respond, I'm sure we will have a better dialogue where your child will turn around and say, thank you very, very much for being a good guide. Because, like Team 5 just said, guide us on how to choose good friends. You see, they need our guidance. Guide us on how to choose good friends because that will impact on how they respond and they do well in educational setting or anywhere in life. So I'm going to move on quickly to question 5. What is the best way to support teenagers without adding pressure? I think you guys have already said this before about discussing with us. So I'll move on to the next question. What is your opinion of African parenting approaches, and how do you feel this affects our teenagers? I'll move this to teen 1, please. What is your opinion? What do you think about African parenting approaches?
For me, in my opinion, I think a lot of African parents approach parenting with sort of a stubborn attitude where they feel like if you don't do it according to what they say, it's not going to work. Um, I do understand where it comes from sometimes because they have a lot more experience in life than us, and they've definitely gone through more experiences and they know what will work and what doesn't work. But I feel like sometimes you kind of have to give the child some room for failure, even though I do understand it comes from a good place, wanting your child to not experience certain things. I know where it comes from, but sometimes if it's something you can discuss with the child to properly explain why you feel that way about why you have the certain opinion on the child's choices, uh it goes a long way with sort of understanding each other and building and having that connection where you guys can both see each other's opinions from the point of view. Yeah, I think that's about it. I think that's it for me. I'm sorry, you're muted.
Thank you. So you feel like most of the time it's more of African parenting to you, it's more of a dictatorship where I tell you what to do, you don't question, you just go on and you just do it, right? But you're
Yeah,
saying that it shouldn't be like that. They should listen. We should
yeah,
listen more, right?
yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I'm going to go to Team 2 on this one. What is your take on this? What do you think of African parenting approach and how does this impact teenagers?
Basically what Teen One said. For me, they just I know where they're coming from, but maybe it's just a bit outdated for the time because we're not the same generation. But yeah, I understand where they're coming from on it. But yeah,
Yeah. Okay, so you feel African parenting is a little bit outdated. Can you define what outdated means to us? Because we may not know what outdated is. We may think that we are still very, very on the time. So what do you mean by outdated?
like it's just not what we think what should be dealt with today. Stuff like technology, how th- how they want to be when they're older, and how we want to be treated to just cooperate more.
Right. So you feel like African parents sometimes we are not very aware of the technological development or differences. So sometimes you feel we are not up to date with it. Is that where you're coming from?
Yes.
Okay, parents, we need to wake up. This digital thing, we can crack it. If they can learn it, we can learn it as well. So we are listening. Thank you so much. I'm going to ask any other teenager, is there something else you want to add to it? So I'll ask teen 3, is there anything you want to add to that in terms of African parenting approach?
Um, there's one thing I do actually want to add: generational gaps. The way, the way, like the way they used to punish them from Nigeria or like any African country is different from like now. especially in the UK. So like the way punishments from there is different from the way they punish them here. Thank you.
Punishment, please. I would like you to elaborate on that. So the punishment here, what do you mean by that? In terms of um when they want to correct a child. So the difference is much in terms of outside the country and in the UK. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, like in Nigeria, if you didn't get like something like a beating and stuff, like
Yeah.
smacking, yeah,
Okay. But in the
that's
UK
one
it's
of the
different.
punishment. Yeah, yes, that's one of the punishment I just want to say about that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. At least thank you for giving us that. So in the UK, the corrective measures are more friendly. That's what is just communicated from what I understood. So thank you, parents. The numbers are dropping. Where people going? Come back and listen, please. Teenage 4, please. Do you have any inputs as to regard parenting approaches in and the impact on teenagers?
I would say that I agree with Team One about how he was saying um, that the way they change, I think it's the way they act towards their children. Like that's the way they were taught before. So parents will, um, I think they act that way towards their children because that's the way they were taught. So that's the only way they know. So that's I don't think we should really blame the parents, but it's the only thing they know. So we can maybe try and tell them or teach them the ways that we want them to act.
Right. Thank you. That's very understanding. So you believe that parents, you see, they believe that they can teach us. And please, let's be willing to also learn as well. Anybody can teach as long as they are making sense. So she's just giving a very considerate example that they know that this is the way we're parented. So we are giving it back to them like that. But they're trying to tell us this is not what they want. So we need to listen to be able to also hear their preferred way as well, instead of dictating or communicating effectively as well. Team, thank you so much. Team 5, do you have any input on this, please? To be appreciated.
Um, to be honest, I agree with what everyone else has said. I agree with Team Four about what she said as well. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, now the next question is for all of you. You take it by a number, starting from team 1. What are your preferred ways of bonding with your parents?
Well, for me, I just kind of just talking to them, to be honest. From time to time, I just ask how they've been, how work has been going for them. Try and gauge if they're in a sort of in a good space mentally. I think it helps a lot with creating that bond with my parents, and being having a close relationship with them where I feel like they could tell me they could tell me whatever problem they have, and if I can help, I will help in whatever way I can. And I know that my parents would also do the same thing for me. That's kind of just how I bond with my parents.
Wow, thank you. So yours is talking. So by
Yeah.
talking to them, talking, not talking at them, talking to them.
Yeah.
The child just said they bond well in that way. Thank you very much. Team 2, what is your preferred way of bonding with your parent?
Just spending time with them, honestly. If it's going out, watching something together, or playing board games, just spending time with them, because that's how you really get to know them and how they get to know you better.
Yeah, thank you very much. Time talking, time talking. Thank you very much. Team 3, please, what is your preferred way of bonding with your parents?
Um, well, technically the same thing that Team Two said. Like spending time with them. Like at least like the least you can do is at least sit down and talk with them, or go on a walk together and talk about stuff that happened during the day, or like go at
Yeah,
least just drive somewhere, like or drive around the neighborhood or something. Yeah, like spending
yeah,
time with them.
yeah. Thank you very, very much. Right, thank you. Team 4, please, can you add your input to this?
I would think that maybe finding a subject or topic that all of you bond over and talking about that maybe, or maybe finding time to bond with them, like for example going out bowling or going out once every month and just finding that time to talk to them and find out how everything is instead of being on your own, and maybe talking to your friends about it instead of your family.
Right. Thank you so much. Then 5.
Um,
What
I
is it?
okay. I think that spending quality time with your parents is a great way to bond with them. For example, me and my dad had a day out the other day, and you just went out and spent the whole day together, and did many different things, and that was a great way for us to bond together because we had like conversations and stuff like that. And also yesterday we went to a music event together because we both enjoy music, and that was a great way for us to like bond. And also I think that having conversations with them as well that are
Yeah.
non-judgmental, that's a great way
Mm,
for the parents and the teens to bond so that they can try and understand each other more
mm,
and try and express their opinions to each other about different things. And maybe like
mm,
show more interest into one another's like hobbies. For example, sometimes I could like show my mom a video that I find funny, and she'll be like,
mm.
what is this that you're showing me? What is this?" And I feel like just show interest into one another's hobbies. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much, guys. I really do appreciate. How people sometimes we feel like you guys don't want to spend time with us. And now all of you have just said you enjoy spending time with your parents, you enjoy them talking, you enjoy them showing interest in your hobbies, vice versa as well. Parents, I don't know where adults think once they are teenagers, they want their own space, they don't want you to be around them too much. That is not true. 5 teenagers have just said they enjoy spending time with parents, having quality time together, having non-judgmental conversation, respecting each other's hobby, showing interest in each other's hobby, and having to know. And one of them actually, in short, 2 of them actually said, when you talk to them, they understand what you're going through, then they are likely to cooperate with you more. Parents, I'm begging, let's listen to them. They want to spend time with us, quality time with us. Let's not believe the myth out there. Maybe 1 or 2 believe that, oh, my teenager is not spending time with me. You need to ask yourself a question why that is, because all of them now, they don't even know each other. Maybe a few of them know one another, but most of them, they did not plan this, and they are telling us they like spending time with us. Please, let's pay attention. Thank you so much, guys. Now I'm going to move on. Right, teenager 2 and 4. This question is for you. What are your perspective on social media, and how best can we, as in, you talk about social media. What are your fascination about social media? And when we tell you guys not to use it, how does it make you guys feel? And what is the best way that we can communicate this and to support you in order not to make mistake? Team 2, that question is for you.
Social media is it's like the construct of how society goes, like what TV was back in the day. I can understand where they're coming from when not wanting us to be on it, but it's just very interesting to look through. We can understand if you want us to stay off it, but we'd also like you to understand how it's just really interesting, like TV and what's on it.
Hmm. Yeah. I remember I used to like TV when I was younger. So if you're comparing as in the way it was entertaining us, you feel social media is also entertaining you, right?
Yes.
Okay, so which particular one entertain you the most?
Just stuff like on YouTube, really.
Okay, all right, thank you. Um, Teenage 4, please, can you touch on this as well? What is so fascinating about social media, and how best can we as parents support you to be safe on that on those devices?
I think that as you get older, like for example, when you get to high school, you see that most of the people in your class or most of your friends have specific apps, and then you would want to join in, and then if you don't have it, you feel left out. And I feel like when you try to tell your parents this, they wouldn't understand the way you're feeling. And it's like, for example, when your parents hear bad stuff about it, they don't want you to use it. But then there's also positive sides of the app as well. So it's like a 50-50. It's like some bad, some negative, some positive, some negative. And I feel like parents can help your child for that they can support you while you're on the app, but they can also monitor you on it. Or you can make, for example, like on TikTok, you can make your account private, and then you can make it only for your parent. You can make it for your parents to see, or people who only know you, instead of making it public and for everyone to see. And then they can also they can be monitoring it, so they can asking you what you're doing on this, or you can basically teach them how to use the app. And that's basically what I'll have to say.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you very, very much for also giving ways that you think maybe parents can help you. Would you be willing to give a password to your parents on your social media?
Yes, because they're only doing this for my safety, and I know that, so I'll be willing to give my password to them.
Okay. Thank you very much. Right. Okay. So parents, maybe a contract should be held with those that are old enough, and just create a rule that you know, a contract that will be that you and your family can use effectively. And the teenagers, I'll let you know, people are thanking you for sharing this they're thanking you guys, for sharing all of these things. So thank you so much for sharing this. Parents are appreciating it as well. So thank you. I'm going to now move to question 9. What? Oh, right. So this is what's in 1 and in 5. What challenges do children face in developing and maintaining friendship? And how can you guys be supported? As in 1 first, please. What challenges do teenagers face when making friendship and maintaining friendship?
Oh, sorry. Yes. So challenges children and teenagers face when making friends is, I think a lot of times they're scared to be themselves because they think the other person is going to think that they're weird or different from quote unquote normal people would. So they feel like they sometimes have to put up an act, which will, lead to them not making not good friends. And, so when you make friends with people who aren't like you and who don't have the same values as you, the friendship never lasts as long. So they will find it harder to not only be themselves, but they'll also find it harder to be accepted by other people because that they'll think they either don't deserve it or they just won't ever have, a good friend who they can talk to anytime about anything. I think that's one of the main challenges.
Okay. Thank you. Would you say if you experienced that, were you able to go through it in terms of how will I say now? Were you able to? How did you manage to navigate your way out of that?
Well, to navigate your way out of that, I just think you genuinely just have to you have to be, you have to overcome that fear of being left out. I think that's
Mm,
the most I think that's the biggest part of, not being able to maintain friends. Is just
okay.
overcoming that fear of being left out. You have to take that leap of faith to yourself and, just be prepared to take whatever life throws at you. I think that's the best way to overcome it.
Okay. Thank you. Saying 5 because you've talked. I'm just going to come to you now. What are the challenges that children experience, teenagers experience when they're trying to make friends and keep friendship? What are the things that you guys experience?
I think once again, social pressure is one of the main issues of that. Like trying to fit in with others. For example, someone could have like way different values to you, but you're trying to fit
Mm,
in as much as you can with them, and you'll end up doing things that you know you're not supposed to do. And I also think having positive environments at home as well can kind of contribute to like the development of your friendships, and also like teaching your child skills like communication and how to have empathy with their friends. And yeah.
All right, thank you. When I spoke to, I love the way you talk about social pressure and teen wars, to talk about peer pressure as well. You know, one thing I notice when I teach children and teenagers, they struggle with getting loyal friends. They feel that their friends, they are not loyal. One minute they are with this friend group, another minute they are with another friend group. Would you say that is linked to their values? Maybe they are hopping from one to another, maybe because of different value, or to have a sense of not missing out. So they are kind of being different things to different friend group. Um, in terms of they are not being loyal as well. Do you struggle with finding friends that are loyal, friends that are real with you, friends that will stick up for you? Do you struggle with that? Team
Yeah,
five.
I feel like nowadays, being the good person, person of good values and godly values, I feel like that's not the norm anymore. People people now like bad things becoming the norm, and that's not really how society should be. And people have a fear now, they have a fear of missing out. And yeah, I think what you said, yeah, I agree with that. They have a fear of missing out. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you very much. So being good now, we listening parents is not the norm. So you're like the minority when you're being good. But guys, keep being good. You might be the minority now, but you're in the long term, you will become the majority. Thank you so much. So the next one is, how can parents effectively address sibling rivalry without children feeling biased? Teen 2 and teen 4. And no, teen 2 and teen 3. How can parents effectively address sibling rivalry without teenagers feeling biased? Feeling that my parents is being biased, especially if you are a firstborn. What do you guys think? What is the best way? And teen three, answer this first, please.
Hello,
Teen
sorry.
three, are you still with us? Okay.
Yeah, hello, sorry. Um,
Okay.
for me, I'm the firstborn of the family.
Okay.
So all the responsibilities are on me. Like, for example, if my younger brother does this, it's on me. If my other brother, because like I have two siblings, my immediate brother and my youngest brother. So, like, if that one does one, it's on me. If he doesn't do his work, it's on me. Because I'm with them like 24/7. So it's like for example if they go to the kitchen now and they say they were hungry, and I gave them food, and as they were coming back to the sitting room, that literally happened like last week, and they broke a plate. That was on me because I gave them the food. I was the one that was meant to put on the dining table. So let every responsibilities are on me. And sometimes to feel like if they do something, if they do something like if they do something wrong, it feel like as if it's my fault. But sometimes in my mind, I would be like, it's not my fault. They did it, not me. So, and sometimes it's frustrating.
Yeah.
So sometimes I feel
I just wonder
frustrated.
how that makes you feel. Yeah, it makes you feel frustrated. Oh
Yes,
wow. Oh wow.
sometimes I feel frustrated, and
Oh.
also there will be petty fights between me, especially between me and my second brother. Because sometimes he does something that, let's just say, he does something stupid sometimes, and most of those things, it would be like as if I'm doing it. So
Hmm.
sometimes I have fights with him. Sometimes if I get punished for what he did, I'll be like, I don't want to talk to him for like an hour. I'll be in my room, locked in my room. I will just be in my room. If he comes in, I'll chase him out. Just so frustrated with him. I'll be angry. After an hour, I'll come out, come eat. That's. I'll still not talk to him. It's just. I sometimes I just feel frustrated about some of this stuff.
Okay.
Thank you.
You must really feel bad that even when you are not part of, you're not the one that did the hurt, But because you are the oldest, all the responsibility is on your shoulder, you must really feel that is unfair. And I wonder if
Yeah.
you've ever been able to communicate that to your parents.
Sometimes, if I try to, sometimes they're like tired because they've just most times they're at work. So sometimes if I try to explain that he did it, they're mostly tired and they don't want to listen to my side of the story. And usually my parents don't
Mm,
listen to my side, especially if it's my second brother. They don't listen to my side of the story.
mm,
So
okay. All right. Thank
they
you
will
very
say
much. Parents, please listen.
they'll say it in my
You say
native
what?
language that they'll say it in my native language that is that I'm the eldest. I'm meant to take responsibility for everything. So
Oh,
that I'm not
wow.
meant to let this one happen. I'm not meant to let this one
Yeah.
happen. I'm not meant to let that one happen. So I'm in charge of
Yeah.
giving them food, in charge of like homework and stuff with them. So
Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes if I try to explain to
Okay.
them that I also have a life that I want to live, they'll be like, I should put my younger brothers first. So
Okay. Someone just asked you a question. What do you think is the best way that parents can handle such situation? And do you feel, and how do you feel after looking after look, look after your siblings after such incidents? How does this make you feel? What do you think is the best way that parents can
all right,
prevent this without blaming everything on you?
the way parents can, because usually they call me and my younger brother in the room, so they call like both of us, and they let my younger brother speak first, because they sometimes they think I'm gonna lie, so they'll let my younger brother speak first. So most things things that parents can do is like listen to their side of the story before they listen to their side of the story. Like listen to the listen to one person's side of the story and listen to another person's side of the story. Not that you should listen to only one person's side of the story. Listen to both stories and you can judge. And
All right.
the second question she asked that the person's second question they asked that how do I look after my siblings? Sometimes
How do you
it's
feel?
just
Do you feel?
it's because it's just that I feel love for them. It's love.
Yeah.
The love inside of me just takes away all my anger. The love for them inside of me just takes away all the anger and just say I should just look after them. After my parents come back, then I can feel the anger I want to feel.
Right, right. Okay. It's a great thing that you're able to manage your emotions as well, and you're able to identify the emotions that you are feeling. So thank you so much. Parents, if you're out there, please listen to both sides of the story. Listen to both sides, and then be unbiased. Be unbiased because it doesn't mean whether because you are the second or the third that you should not have responsibility. You should have responsibility, not only your older ones, because things like that lead to entitlement mentality from the little ones. They feel they are not entitled, and the older one is responsible for them. Please, let's not do that. Let's do away from that. Let everybody be responsible for their actions. It is very, very important. Thank you so much for sharing that. And Tin 4, please, what is your contribution to this? What is the best way that you feel that parents should address rivalry between siblings without being biased?
I feel that when something happens, like Teen 3 said, they shouldn't really blame the oldest sibling for it. Um, they could maybe, li- they could maybe listen to the older sibling and the second sibling, and then make the judgment instead of listening to one side of the story, then making a judgment. And then as soon as something happened, they shouldn't blame the oldest sibling for it just because they're the oldest. They could try and maybe blame the child who did it for their own actions, so the child can learn to take responsibility for their own actions instead of getting away with the thing that they did.
Yeah. Thank you so, so much. Thank you very much for that. And Christine just said, also, parents, I would suggest we learn to trust our children. Yes, We must learn to trust our children, because Teen 3 said sometimes when he speaks, they think he's lying. Why would you think he's lying? He's the one that tidy up the mess and everything. Yeah, we know sometimes children can be giddy and all of those stuff, but please don't just tell them outrightly you're lying. Just maybe there are better ways that we can put it, to make them feel like we trust them, and for them to know that we really do trust them. Thank you so much, guys. Right, we're nearly done now. In what ways would you like your parents to provide academic support that doesn't become overwhelming? I will come to teenager 1 and 5 on this. So if you need academic support, because I know sometimes the way parents provide academic support can be very overwhelming. What do you think is the best way that we can provide academic support without overwhelming you guys with studies?
I think providing support, you could, encourage a healthy, a healthy study and playtime balance. I think that would be the best way to go about it. So you could, every once in a while, you could obviously check in to see how we're doing, because just regularly checking in, having that trust in us that we will actually focus on our studies and would actually want to, be good academically. I think it's a lot better than, kind of hovering over us and constantly telling us to revise, to study, to do this, to do that, because that's when it will get overwhelming. And also encouraging us to take breaks when needed, because if you notice that we are, sort of applying pressure on ourselves, because we can also do that as children. Sometimes we also apply pressure on ourselves, unknowingly or knowingly. So you can always just, try and make sure we're in a good headspace, we're okay mentally with sort of handling the stresses of education.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. They said no hovering, like helicopter people hovering around,
Yeah,
circling
yeah,
around. Don't do that. Don't
yeah.
hover around them. Trust them. It goes back to what Christy said before. Trust them, and don't over. Just do it stylishly, guide a bit, but don't over. Thank you very, very much. Okay, and someone also said we parents should also insist on the younger ones respecting and trusting their older sibling. Yeah, that was on the previous discussion that we had before. Thank you. Tin Five, please, can you speak to that question? The best way that we can support you academically without overwhelming you. Tin Five.
I said, I think creating a supportive environment rather than just being controlling, and try and offer help when, like, if your teenager asks, like, for help. Try and offer them help and show interest in the academic progress without giving them excessive pressure, and don't really impose unrealistic expectations for them, and try and support them the best way that you can, and know the importance between the balance of their personal life and the academic life. That's what I said.
Wow. Thank you so much. Those are great points. Don't impose unrealistic expectations on your child. And also let there be a balance. I'm sure Tin One also said that as well. Let there be a balance with their mental health, their emotional well-being, support them, acknowledge their efforts before even offering a higher expectation. But please acknowledge where they are at, and let's make it it's very important that you acknowledge their effort. It might not be up to your expectation, but at least acknowledge the efforts that they are putting in. It's very, very important. And there's a question for you guys. Say, but what if you know that the child doesn't take academics serious? What will you say is the right push that doesn't make you feel like you are being over? I'm gonna go
Okay.
to Tin One. Yes.
Yes. Sorry for jumping in there, but
It's okay.
okay. So if the child doesn't take academics seriously, I think that might just come down to, the child having very different interests, because in modern day society, you can be very successful without necessarily having, without being very much into academics. So I would think if it's a circumstance that can be changed, like the working environment, like either the school or the teachers or students making the child not feel like academics is, a good thing. If it's just the environment that can be changed, I think you should speak to the child about how you guys can work together to change it. But if it's not the environment and it's just how, the child is, if the child is more creatively oriented, so if they're more into the arts and just things that aren't necessarily traditionally academic, then I think it would be best to just support the child in whatever way, you know, they see fit. And like I said, it still comes down to the aspect of trusting the child at the end of the day. So yeah, I think that's how I would personally want it to be handled if I was in that situation.
Right. I see you and I hear you. I hear you loud and clear that you are acknowledging the fact that it's not all children that are academic. Some of them are just gifted in other areas. So it's a way of getting to, it goes back to what the point, one of the points, one of the first speakers spoke about observing, observing your child. You need to observe. What is your child really good at? It doesn't matter if you want your child to be a medical doctor and they are not gifted academically in that way. So your wish is beautiful, your thought for them is beautiful, but it's unrealistic because that child may not be a science student. And if you keep pushing them in that department, they are going to end up getting frustrated. He's saying, observe your child, find out if it's the environment, and then find things to do to mitigate those circumstances. If it's not, maybe the child is not academically inclined in that way, then maybe pay attention and find a way to maximize their potential so that they are still successful in life. Thank you so much, Tin One, for sharing that light and for that question, Ronnie. Thank you very much. Now, this one, I think all of you should really answer this, starting from Tin One to Tin Five. I taught some children, and I also went for a conference with I had opportunity to serve the teenagers, and I asked them. Many of them will confide in their parents. About two of them, and compared to the number of children I was talking to, I was really alarmed. So please, can you tell us what prevents teenagers from confiding in their parents, and what can we do to enable you guys to confide in us when there is anything? And in one,
Yeah.
please, can you start?
Yes. Yes. So I think one thing that one thing that hinders teenagers from confiding in their parents is, you know, I think it's just being able to see each other's perspectives on just little things that, that you may think aren't big deals, but I think sometimes children will kind of, I don't want to say overthink, but they may hear a certain thing that you say or how you act towards them, or even sometimes the tone in which you speak to them. Sometimes that does kind of weigh in a bit on the certain things that your child will want to talk to you about and not want to talk to you about. So if they feel like you're very much, stagnant and stubborn in the ways which you think, if you're not exactly the most open-minded person about certain topics and certain things that are happening um, in the world today, they may feel like they can't come to you about certain topics to talk
Mhm.
to you about. So that might draw them to being more isolated and being more distanced towards you. Yeah.
Wow, thank you. So our tonality is very good. Yes, Queen B, you are right. It goes back to that communication, your tone, your body language. Your children are observing you the way you are observing them. It goes both ways. So if they listen, your tone is going to be it's going to be really high, and your body language, your perspective is very, very fixed. It's not flexible. You're not open to even listen. They are going to close up and they won't tell you. I would really, really hope that our children come to us when they really do need us. It's very important so that they can, whatever way they want to solve that problem, we can help them with it. Teenager 2, please, can you tell us, the best way to encourage teenagers to confide in their parents, please?
Yeah, I agree with what Teen One said. I think that the way our parents look at like what's with our generation, they won't understand it as much as how we feel, of course. So what I'd want is just
Yeah.
for them to try and listen to us more and try and just learn a bit more about our generation, like how we've learned from them, from what they've said to us about how they were younger.
Yeah. So if they do that, will you be inclined to confide then in your parents if something has happened?
Yes, it would feel much easier just to talk to them about it if they would understand just a bit more.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Team 3, please. Can you add your thoughts to this question?
I also agree with Teen One about what he said. That
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Team 4.
I think that once a child gets older, they start to maybe tell their parents less stuff. So they start to become distant because they feel like their parents are going to judge them because of the way, like Teen 2 said, their parents are going to judge them about their generation, how oh, they're all the same. And maybe they won't see it as the way that you see it, and they might see it as a wrong thing when it's actually like the right thing to do.
Okay. Thank you very, very much for sharing that. When you said the right thing, sometimes it's a matter of perspective, because if I'm standing here, I'm seeing a 6, and you standing there, you're seeing a 9. If you call it a 9, you are right. If I call it a 6, I'm right. So it's a matter of mitigating the circumstances so that there is no collateral damage at the end of it. Your safety, your protection is our priority. So being open-minded and communicating it is very, very important. Thank you very much. And I'll go to teen 5 now, please. Can you speak to that, what we're just talking about?
I think that nowadays, as teens get older, they confide more to like their friends rather than the parents because they feel like they'll understand more. And I think that parents, in order for them to understand more, they should probably like listen to their child and not judge them as much as they do, and not
Yeah,
really overreact when their child tells them something, because sometimes the children can be concerned about overreactions and they can
yeah,
have like a fear of consequences. So I
yeah.
feel like that's important for the parents to understand that.
All right. Thank you very, very much. Please, let's not be overreactive. Let's be open-minded. Even when the thing is hot, don't shout. Let's just calm down and handle things in a way that we don't scare them off, and close that door for good. If we close that door, they won't come back. But if you open up and then just find a way to solve the problem, they will come back if there is anything, or they might not even have any further issues after that because they will become more sensible. I have a question here for, I think, Team 1 and Team 3 will be able to speak to this. He said, please, can you tell us how being raised up in Africa has shaped you up, and how this has impacted your life when you came to the Western world?
Yes, so for me, being raised up in Africa, it's it helped me with, being very, very resilient and sort of understanding things from different people's perspective. Because growing up in Africa, I've been around a lot of people, saw a lot of people, saw a lot of different circumstances people were born into. So it's helped me, with adapting a lot better, and also, like I said, being very resilient. So whenever I'm in sort of a tough situation, so I'm able to kind of think calmly and try and find a way out of that situation. If it requires me
Yeah.
to ask for help, or if I need to do it on my own, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to, you know, get out of the situation. I think that's what it helped me most with, growing up in Africa.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. There's Team 3. Can you speak to that as well?
Um, like bringing getting brought up in Nigeria, Africa, specifically Nigeria, like has taught me respect. Because people here in the UK, you can see like in school, someone you just start swearing at the teacher, being mean to the teacher for no good reason. You don't for no good reason, and like
Yeah.
people just start being mean. So like respect, because like for thank God I was brought up in Africa, not here. So I'll be like way worse than I am now. Because
Mm.
like sometimes if I see someone in the morning, I greet them. Not if even like I greet them like good morning sir, good morning ma. Like also obedience. Like if your parents say you shouldn't do something, don't do it. Like most people here, so like on my friends, yeah. So they said because their parents said they shouldn't install TikTok, but one of my friends, yeah, his parents. So he found another cheat code. He went on Google Chrome. He's not watching TikTok on there. I'm like, sometimes I just tell him that he should just obey his parents. He's like, no way, that his mom is being too like overprotective or something. Yeah, nothing can happen. So
Wow.
obedience and respect. That's
Yeah.
all I know. Yeah.
Thank you. Those are great qualities, by the way. And thing one, what you said, resilience, being able to find solutions rather than focusing on the problem. And in your case, respect and obedience. Those are great values that you both have just spoken to. And I hope and I pray that that remains with you and nothing takes that away from you, because those are great values that will take you to a greater height because you have a sound foundation for that. Thank you so much. And there's another question. Would you advise African children born in the Western world to go back to Africa just for exposure and experience? Team
I'm,
3, what do you think?
I'm sorry for jumping into that conflict. Yes, because I've been asking my dad for like I don't know like how many months now. I'll be asking him at least, even if it's just like 1 or 2 weeks, that if we can go back to Nigeria and see how it is from when we left and when we are now. So
Yeah.
like at least even if it's like once every 3 years, that would be great to experience more things from Nigeria and bring it back here.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So team 2, team team 4, and team 5. So you guys, maybe you guys need to go and visit Africa and just grasp all these things that they've spoken about. I'm not going to take much of your time. We are 20 minutes past our scheduled time. And I really want to say, please, audience, just show some love on our teenagers. Show some love on our teenagers. They've been awesome. They've been vulnerable. They've been authentic. They've just been, in short, I don't know what to say. You guys have been awesome and you've represented the teenage world properly for us. At least we have more insight into what you guys are going through. And hopefully, if we want to hear more as we progress in the new year, maybe we'll be able to call more of you to come back. I appreciate them. Thank you so much. I've learned a lot today. You guys have debunked some myths that are going around. Thank you so much for your bravery. Thank you. I appreciate and I celebrate all of you. And they're telling you, thank you in the comment section. Thank you, guys. You have been awesome. God bless you all. Yes, thank you for being real. Thank you so much, guys. I'm going to bring, I don't know if moderator one is back, but I'll bring moderator because I want to hear what she has to say. Ronnie, where are you? I can't see you. Where is she? I can't see you. Okay, Sister Jeremy, are you available to speak? I need to bring someone up for us to quickly round this up. Thank you all so much. Oh, she's back. Okay, I'll add you back on stage. What have you got for our teenagers? I'll bring her if she can talk, she will talk. If she can't, that's fine. Ronnie, please, Coach Ronnie, are you gonna speak? You are dumbfounded or what?
Okay, no, the honestly, the our teenagers, honestly, I am so incredibly proud of you guys. And the thing is that I love how you spoke freely. I've learned a lot. Like I said at the beginning, I'm a mother of a teenager, so there is some struggles there. I do try my best to be open, but I just want you guys, what I would say on behalf of all parents, I'll say for myself and on behalf of all parents, that we are trying, and most of the things we are doing comes from a place of love. And you guys have said it all. There are things we do because that is how we know how to do things. But some of us are actually trying to see that, okay, just because that's how things have been done in the past does not mean that's how it should continue. So we're listening, we're taking notes, and we're going to be amending some things. And I just pray that by the time we have another either webinar or seminar, we put this together, when you guys come back, you would be able to attest to the fact that some things have changed, some things are different. Parents, there are sometimes I always say to my children, there is about 10 taps opened in my mind and they're all running at the same time. And because you're there, right there, I feel like I don't need to give you all the attention for you to get when I'm doing all the signal and is because we're so busy. Life is hard, but sometimes we can forget that you're actually in the midst of it. So you're loved, you're well appreciated, and God bless you all.
Thank you so much, Ronnie. Thank you. Jeremy, do you have any contribution to that? We have a
Just a quick one.
Jeremy.
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
I just want to say thank you to the teens. That was an amazing session. I learned a lot. I think as parents, we assume, we just assume they know what we want them to do. They know why we're doing this. But I think they've made us realize today we need to listen to them. And they've actually been very good because they've been understanding, when they speak, they say, well, I understand where they're coming from. And I think we as parents, we're not even understanding where they're coming from. We're just going, this is what you should do it. It's the best for you. We're not even sitting down to have that conversation as to why is it the best for you. You understand? So I really appreciated all the examples that they've given. I'm guilty of a lot of things that have been said here, and I'm going to go back and work on them. I think I need someone to come and check on me next time and say, how far have you changed after listening to this?
I will check on you.
It's amazing. Well done, you guys. Well done. God bless you all.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. We've got our moderators. I'll be back. Any contribution, please?
What a session. What a session. As in, it's first and foremost, I just want to say thank you to all the teenagers. As in, that was quite, I'll use the word bold, not because you're timid, but knowing parents are here, you understand, knowing you're speaking to your parents, so to say, not literally biologically your parents, but then having the eloquence and the confidence and the courage and the boldness to actually express yourselves clearly. I just want to applaud you for that and say thank you. Now, like everyone has said, as in, it's mind boggling. It is actually mind boggling to think as parents, we think we don't think we know all, you understand, but we think we are doing what's right for you. I have my notes here and I can I can take where I have been, where I think I'm doing right and where I have actually failed. Well, I won't say fail, where I've got it wrong. I won't want to use the word fail because it's a learning curve as well, even for me and for us as parents. So I'm 5 months to having a teen in my house. So that's some consciousness in my back at the back of my mind, some things I try to do, and God help me with the shouting. But I just want to say thank you for the examples, for the understanding as well. I think we mentioned it earlier on, just before we had the first speaker, that most of the times we do things the way we've been taught. You understand? We try to fine tune it, but at the end of the day, I think Coach Sonia said that the ultimate goal, basically, as long as we basically, as long as whatever the end result is, they're supposed to be negative, is averted. So thank you very much. I've taken my notes. I've taken it on board. I've noted down where I have got things wrong. I think I have a better understanding of even having of how my preteen thinks as well. And I just want to say thank you. Like is it Lady Jeremy said? Um, I also need, well, I know Coach Sonia is there to always check on me. I report myself anyway. I report myself. So but I think I also need a check on myself. And to be honest, I actually had my preteen listening as well. Just so he can hear what other teenagers are saying, and of course I'm like, can you hear? Can you hear? And of course it gives me that look as well. You too, can you hear? So thank you very much. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your patience. We appreciate your boldness. We appreciate your confidence. And we hope to have you back, hopefully with positive things to say, and also how to have us evolve with you even as you grow in this teenage years and even out of the teenage years. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So I just want to formally thank. I know this is not the end. Please do come back at 6 o'clock. We have a session. Is going to be awesome, awesome, awesome. So tell us, how has this session been for you? Drop it in the comment section. Drop it in the comment section. I just want to thank all the people. These are the planning committee for these events. They've been absolutely amazing. These ladies, they've been amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you so, so much. If you know them, tell them thank you on my behalf as well. Drop in the comment section what I stood out for you. And this event is sponsored by BAMIS, Acades, and ASEP. So thank you so, so much for putting this together as well. And the teenagers, I say, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so, so much. I really do appreciate your session. And this is the end of the morning session. We are going to come back at 6 o'clock, and it's going to be absolutely amazing. So thank you so much, and I will see you all again in the evening. So thank you. Bye. Bye, teens. Bye. You can unmute.
Bye.
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 Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you all.
Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.
You.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Let me see.